Gaming news today is all about new information. We have brand new Ghost of Yotei gameplay details, and it's about stances. It does confirm some players' fears about the sequel, but it also shows how Yotei will distinguish itself from its predecessor. Second, Donkey Kong Bananza is here, and the reviews are soaring, but what did I think of the game? I'm going to give you my first impressions about it. Also, for those of you that are gifted or paying members, we will be streaming a Friday night stream tonight with my wife, and we'll be playing it together, checking out the co-op. So make sure you have a membership to the channel if you want to see that. Third, another game that I was anticipating launches today. It is a Pac-Man Metroidvania. But the review scores are not very strong, so we're going to look at where they are landing, and I will be playing that game this afternoon just to see if I think differently. And as always, I've got a game for your wish list and your radar. Now, if you guys are here every single day and you like the content, one of the best ways to help the content is to hit the like button. I know that seems trivial, but it is actually very helpful. Also, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That way you can be here every day for the live shows. And keep in mind, if I'm ever not on your homepage of YouTube, check that subscriber feed, that little area where all your new subscriber content is. We're doing uploads and live shows pretty much every day during the work week, and we have changed format a little bit. I now just sort of open the show and just sort of talk with the audience before sort of going through the various news items. So if you are watching this later, there'll be timestamps below to those various news stories. And yeah, that's how we open the show now. And also, don't forget, there are various ways to support the channel directly. One thing on YouTube that is not necessarily as common is members-only content. So consider clicking join and pick that member plus for $6. You'll get into the daily green rooms, Friday nights with Madam, and when we hit big goals, I do IRL streams on the weekend. So thank you to everybody who continues to support the channel directly. We greatly appreciate it. Coverage this week has ranged from a variety of things, so curious where you guys are on all the various news stories. Feel free to ask me about anything that's been going on in gaming. Good morning and good afternoon and good evening to all of you. Make sure you've gone through that daily ritual of giving that like button a smack. Give it a good old smack. It deserves it. Donkey Kong is great, says Holler Age. Once you jump down the hole where your VOD finishes, the game really opens up. Is that at that point, does co-op open up? Because I was kind of curious. They don't really give the person on your shoulder that much to do. So I was a little curious, like, is Madam going to be bored to tears? Like in Mario Galaxy, which is another game that has that sort of companion-style co-op, we really enjoyed ourselves. And I don't know if Donkey Kong is going to offer enough for her to do. My little combined chat app is not working. Let me try one more time here to open it. And there we go. It was just like sitting there like white. Moore's Law is Dead has talked about the PS6. I heard the Halo slander. How dare you? Yeah, I don't feel like debating that again. That's the co-op. It's like Pikmin. Like, does she actively have pretty much something to do the whole time? Brian M. with 29 months of membership says, don't forget the free Ghost of Yotei PlayStation screensaver. Have you got it? I've got it. It's been on my PlayStation for a while. Thank you so much for the reminder. Every time I turn my PlayStation on, my daughter asks me about it. She's like, is that game out yet? Kepler says it's the new Xbox and not PS6. Oh, so Kepler's in disagreement. Kepler's pretty reliable. So, was playing for 5 hours yesterday. That's all she does. I'm actually not aware of what she does because I'm not familiar with Pikmin. What does she actually do, Chris? Next level, fast travel zip line. There's fast travel zip lines. Pauline is limited to for the first two worlds and then has a couple of abilities. Okay. Yeah. That's always a bit of a bummer when they do that. Like, they make a companion, but if they don't give them enough to do, it's like your companion's going to be kind of bored out of their mind. Kepler says this is absolutely the next-gen Xbox. The code names that AMD uses for PlayStation socks are from Shakespeare characters. The design in general looks too expensive to be the PS6 too. Cerny is a lot more conservative with die area. And then he gets into, like, numbers and letters and things that I don't know what those things mean. Like Mario Galaxy, but stronger. Okay. Well, I wonder if we're going to experience the game a little bit differently because Madam and I have been playing co-op games for a really long time. So, like, coming from a game like Borderlands or Diablo, is Madam going to feel like I'm not doing anything, right? She does like sometimes just having the more laid-back experience. Like she was enjoying when we were playing through Child of Light, which I actually thought that game deserved a sequel. But, you know how it goes with some of these games. When they're a little bit smaller or a little bit lesser known, they're sometimes one-offs, which I think can be unfortunate, especially when you really like a game. I like to 100% each part before moving on. She's like a scout on your back. Okay. Madam might actually really like that because she really does like clearing an area in a game before moving on. So, good morning, everybody. We've only been live for about 5 minutes, so make sure you're going through those rituals on YouTube. Get that like count up as fast as you can. We are back and connected and no longer dealing with all the issues we were dealing with yesterday. All that has been fixed. AT&T was doing something in the area. Donkey Kong is fantastic, but there are some graphically well anomalies and some seriously distracting low-res assets that stand out. I don't know if low-res assets are going to be that bad of a distraction for me personally in a game like that. Without spoiling anything, in the Nintendo Showcase, they showed one of Pauline's moves besides the whistling. Okay. Well, they've described some of her moves in some interviews and articles, so I don't know if you're necessarily going to spoil anything for me. Also, Madam and I have played games like Gunfire Reborn and RoboQuest, so, hopefully she's entertained enough. We're going to play it tonight and see exactly how much of her involvement, there'll be. Echoes of the End did a 20-minute gameplay showcase. It's running on a PS5 and looks good. It's very AA. I've got that video set, Corey. That's my wishlist and radar game today. I looked at it and thought, man, it looks a little slow and clunky. But then the more I watched, I was like, actually, I think this combat style is a little bit more intentional, which I think I would take. Lately, I feel like every game is this fast, frenetic frenzy. Hey, my kids love alliterations. Like, they have to put them in their paper sometimes. This fast, frenetic frenzy, and it's like, well, what is going on? I can't even see sometimes, or it just seems too fast. Yo, Pathalon Phoenix with a 20 bomb to start the day. Han shot first, and so did you. You got in just before Joker Quinn took the prize of Han shot first, and that's going to take us to 654, but then 655. Thank you so much. I tell you what, it's Friday. Maybe we could do the 5 every 25 Fridays. We could do that only on Fridays. I can't do it all throughout the week, but that does set up a nice 25 dunker, a 20 bomb to 675. We are really turning things around, and I greatly appreciate it, man. This week has been a nice sort of return to form with people being here. I'm seeing names in chat that I wasn't seeing, so welcome on back. Some of y'all were maybe taking trips or we're busy, and we appreciate seeing folks coming back around. August is insane. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Thank you for being here, Feed. Guys on YouTube, don't forget, you got to do the like button when you come in to the show. It helps me out big time, and we get that first 100 likes. Let's do that in like the first 10 minutes here. Good morning, Siege Master. How are you? Good to see you. Good morning, Arda, and everybody else coming on in, getting your day started. We appreciate you spending your time here and deciding that this is the place you want to hang your hat. Every time I check this channel, bro's talking about this Yotei game. This is not how you grow a channel. So, are you trying to give me actual YouTube advice, or are you just belly aching about something? We've actually been talking about Donkey Kong. I don't know if you can actually look at the thumbnail, but the thumbnail has Pac-Man on it as well as Donkey Kong, which we're currently talking about Donkey Kong. And this is what my channel looks like in the past couple of days. Donkey Kong gameplay, Game of the Year predictions, PlayStation Secret Weapon, Eric Solm's gameplay. Here's talking about Santa Monica's new game. Here's talking about Tokyo Game Show. I mean, here's my Yotei coverage, which makes sense because the state of play happened literally right here. Prior to that, almost no Yotei coverage. So I'm not really sure what channel you're describing, but it doesn't sound like you're describing mine. Mile High comes in with 22 months and says, heading back over to YouTube. Thank you so much, dude, for double dipping and getting us to 356. I appreciate it so much, and giving Purple their first thing of the day. Hi, Mama. Peeking through the monitors there. That was the thing you needed printed, right? Okay. You're welcome. I mean, somebody's trying to be rude, maybe. I think maybe they're not paying attention if they think that's all we've been talking about. Nothing wrong with Ghost of Yotei talk. I mean, one of the biggest and one of my most anticipated games, coming out this year. And, I don't know. 5 seconds on a screensaver. I super chatted Milestone. Get real? Huh? What are you talking about, Brian M? If he doesn't like what you're covering, why is he here? But that's just it. I don't understand. I'm not sure what he's been watching. I mean, the Yotei deep dive happened, so we covered it, and we spent a couple of days talking about it. That's kind of how the news cycle goes, and now we've been talking about other things. I mean, I wanted to talk about the thing today because they gave information about how they are removing the stance system, and I wanted to talk about that because that was one of my big concerns. So, I don't know. Had some great conversations this week. Yeah, we've had a lot of great debates and a lot of great conversation. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I don't know what the guy's issue is. Thoughts on Bungie now that their new Destiny DLC only hit 99K on Steam? Low. Yeah, they are. I'm not quite sure what they're going to do. There's obviously, even bigger concerns about what's going to happen with Marathon. You only mentioned Ghost because I mentioned the dynamic screensaver so far. Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, he's looking at the title, maybe, and not the thumbnail. The thumbnail has multiple topics contained within it, and we've got multiple topics to cover, which is why we were talking about Donkey Kong. So when he came in, I guess he came in with his ears plugged or the sound off. We're dealing with a highly intelligent person, I can tell. We were talking about Donkey Kong when he came in. You talk about what you want to appreciate. I appreciate that, Trey Gaming. Thank you. Marathon and Destiny failing seems like Sony takeover. Yeah, I'm not sure what it's going to look like. I mean, there's different theories, obviously, about what Sony will do. Will they just absorb the entirety of the talent base, take the leadership to the street corner, and tell them to take a hike? No, we stopped doing morning coffee because it was incredibly counterproductive. We were creating more members' content most of the time than public content, which is absolutely not helpful. So we only do Green Room now at the end of every day. That is a Member Plus and above requirement. So you're not getting less content. We just now start at 9 o'clock with the main show instead of doing the morning coffee at 9 o'clock. So, Channel kicks butt, always has truth in gaming, doesn't get any better. I appreciate that, Anthony. Thank you. I'm not quite, with respect to Bungie again with PlayStation, I imagine PlayStation has some type of a plan. It seems like from the very beginning, they have been, they have had in their mind some sort of talent acquisition. So when Bungie started showing signs of shakiness, what did Sony do? They absorbed like 250 people. I don't think you put a plan like that into place like overnight. Like, the more I've thought about this and the more I've kind of reflected on what PlayStation's plan is, I don't think you're like, oh, well, that's okay that they're in dire straits. We'll just absorb 250 people. That sounds like they had a plan in place. Like, they almost anticipated Bungie getting into a situation where operational costs were going to be too high, team members were going to need to let go, and PlayStation was there ready with a plan in place to absorb those people. 250 people just suddenly finding positions, and then they grabbed one of the incubation projects, and then they formed a brand new developer, LFG, I think is what they called it. I just don't think you do that haphazardly. That seems like something that was in play or something that was planned for a while. They knew when they were buying them 100%. I mean, I think it makes sense why, like, even Hiroki Totoki talked about, like, spending and accountability and stuff. It's like they knew this company's a little out of control, and I think they were ready to fully take advantage of that. Not in a bad way. Not in, like, a take advantage of, like, they're taking advantage of the company, but, like, take advantage of the fact that, like, you got a lot of talented people. We want the talent. You know what I mean? I don't know. I could be totally wrong, and PlayStation, like, haphazardly threw together a plan to absorb 250 people, but my gut says that's not something that you do, quickly or in a reactionary way. I don't think you just, like, in a reactionary way are like, oh, no, yeah, we've got positions for 200 plus folks. The question remains, was it a good price? Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have those types of questions about whether or not it was the right price. I mean, it's hard to measure the value of something like that. They spared Naughty Dog completely wasting their time with factions. And also, hurting The Last of Us because they had already heard it. Dope shirt, sir. Thank you so much, Feed. You know, they had already heard it with a bad port of Last of Us Part 1 to PC. Didn't need to hurt it any further. In general, I think they're not looking at this acquisition like, well, we were buying Bungie because we wanted Bungie to generate a bunch of money, right? You know, we want to generate a bunch of money. That's why we're buying Bungie, because we want to make money off of Destiny. I don't think they bought Bungie because of their profit margins. Like, if you go back and you look at the announcement of the acquisition, it wasn't like, oh yeah, they generate a ton of money and we're really excited to get more money. So I think everybody's analysis of the situation keeps missing the fact that that's not why they were purchased. They were purchased because they wanted them to start the Center for Live Service Excellence, which is a long tail investment. So there's no way of really knowing. Like, if in 10 years, PlayStation has a couple of successful live service games that were heavily influenced by the data, the analysis, and the input of Bungie, I think they'll say, we made a really good purchase back there, 12 years ago. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, this is a long tail investment. I don't see it easy to measure the ROI on it right now, because they've got a handful of live service successes, but they have one of the biggest flops in history. So it's like they've really got to figure out a path. And if they do figure out the path and they do end up with some crazy successful live service game in 10 years, largely built on what they've learned from Bungie, well, you're going to be able to say, hey, that ended up paying off. In the interim, I would expect Bungie to be in a pretty bad spot. Sir, my birthday's today. Quentin also says, right, today's my birthday. I was hoping to play RoboCop game, but pay $14 for delivery, and I didn't get it today. Well, that's the worst way to spend your birthday. That's terrible, man. Also, guys, it's Feed's birthday. I think you know what that means. Somebody's got to take care of this man over here on Purple. Happy birthday, Feed. I hope it's a good one. I hope you celebrate with the folks you want to celebrate with. And thank you for always being here, Feed. You got to be one of the most faithful chatters I think I've ever seen in the history of live chats. Guys, thanks for 100 likes. We've only been live for about 17 minutes. And there it is, my man Superfly taking care of our boy Feed. He gives some member to him. I appreciate it so much. We're now at 657. There it is. I currently owe YouTube 5. Appreciate it. Did I miss your talk about Pac-Man? No, you did not. What we're starting to do now is just kind of open up the stream with like an hour of just like free flow conversation about gaming. And then I'll do the show open. I'll do the talk about an hour in. There will be timestamps available, though. If you guys are watching the past broadcast, that should be there. If they're not there, scold me about that. I try to be very good about adding those timestamps as quickly as I can. Actually able to catch a live stream. Yo, what's good, Professor Mal? How are you? Your birthday's on the 28th of September. Well, yeah, happy birthday way far in advance. Sword of the Sea is August 19th. This is a total of 8 games just in August. Yes, August is going to be fairly full. Did you see Echoes of the End? I've got that lined up for today's wishlist and radar game. I saw the new gameplay deep dive. We can take a look at that as well after we're done kind of doing that. Correction, my birthday is Monday and I have jury duty. That's the worst way to celebrate your birthday. Guys, we got a lot of birthdays here today, so we know what we do when we celebrate birthdays. The only way to celebrate birthdays around here, by spamming emotes. So I would like to see a bunch of emote spam. When it's Hilly's birthday, he demands that you gift more members than you did for my birthday because he's a cheeky Brit and he's got a little bit of cheek on him. So, he likes to come in here and show off. None of these people have asked for such a toxic birthday present, so I don't know if Hilly's even here. Mark with the $5 super chat says, really enjoying Ready or Not on PS5. Old school SWAT team gameplay. Highly recommended. I am not interested. Yeah, I am not interested. I'm glad to see people are loving it. It looks like it's doing very well. Looks like the score is really high. It looks like it's probably sold like crazy. It seemed like it was pretty highly anticipated. But I'll be spending this afternoon playing more Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. And then on Sunday, we're going to try to put everything together. And then I'll probably record my videos on Monday. and then we will drop that on Wednesday. There was some confusion on the live stream thing. They sent an email, and it sounded like we would be able to stream the game before it even came out, and they had made a typo. And I was like, you should be very grateful I sent you this email, because you basically just told everybody they can stream the game like 2 days before it comes out. Thank you so much, Brian M., for the gifted member. So I shot him an email, and I said, I think you guys have made a mistake here. I think you've transposed the dates and the windows of time. And they replied and said, that is indeed correct. They said, this is a typo in the email. They said, use the attached images instead. I was like, okay. 2 Spot from 8-Bit Pro, working and lurking. Good morning, Lono in chat. Yo, it's good, 8-Bit Pro. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. The more you guys talk in the chat, the more you super chat and do all those things, you will climb that top fans ranking. A Brian train. Brians are also welcome. Oh, a Brian. Yeah, apparently if your name is Brian, you're supposed to be gifting members right now. Brian's calling for a Brian train. That could go so many different ways. If your name is Brian, just keep in mind we're not asking for anything more than your contribution. Anyway, leave us UK people alone. Hey, I'm not picking on you, the UK folks. I was just picking on Hilly. Doing good. I missed your impressions of the Yotei gameplay. What are your thoughts so far? So I think Ghost of Yotei gameplay looks fantastic. I think they've evolved the right parts of the game. From the open world to the combat, I'm not seeing any signs of concern. The things I was concerned about, I've got solid answers on. I'm going to give you the details here in about 30 minutes when I go through the show open about like what they decided to do instead of 4 stances with the weapons. Googly with the super chat says, if GTA 6 did come out this year, do you think it would be a sure win for Game of the Year? No, it would lose to Expedition 33. Nothing can stand beneath the blazing sun of Expedition 33. And a 5-bomb comes in from Joker Quinn. Joker Quinn has decided to abandon his ways of single gifted, and he does a 5-bomb instead and gets us to 63. But then it's going to be a 64. I am Melee with 43 months of a VIP, but then it's going to be 665. Thank you so much. And I Am Melee's double dipping. That's why we're getting double. It's a 24 month on Purple and 43 months on YouTube. That's a lot of months. It's such a shame that the nonsense that happened 5 years ago took that away from you. But you know what? We're going to just keep doing our thing. That's going to be a 23, and then that's going to be a 28. Thank you so much. There it is, and 3 there. You guys lost a lot, and it's sad, but at least we can see the total months when you resub now. We got a little hype train going on Purple, and a hype train going over here with a 20 bomb coming in from MASH and gets us to 685. Him and Pathalon are now tied with their members for the day to a 20 bomb apiece. We're 15 away from the next milestone. Thank you so much, MASH. Tomorrowland is getting a new stage built in 2 days. Wow, that seems fast, doesn't it? I wish my time on the Bigger Red channel counted as well. Oh, that's right. That's right. Those of you that have stuck with me since 2020 and you went to the Bigger channel and a 10 bomb comes in from MASH. He says, let's just get a little bit closer. This guy's going to try to land the plane all as another. Somebody beat him to it. Somebody do a 5 bomb before MASH does. Don't let MASH have this. Don't let him have it. Somebody do it. Somebody take it from him. Don't give him it. Don't let him have it. This guy's always taking it. He's always taking all the glory for himself. Somebody cut him off. Somebody cut in line. We're at 695. I have so much new music that you guys haven't heard either. We've had this big slowdown. And Wired Rogue does it. A 5 bomb over here on Purple. There it is to get us to 700. And Alex does a 5 bomb as well. And that takes us to 705. You love to see it. Every 100 now is a song. If we get to 1,000, I already said this week, we get to 1,000, we'll do the second album tonight. You guys haven't heard it. It's the one that I think gets even better than the first. Oh my gosh. And a hype train level 4 over here on Purple. Thank you guys so much. Your support means the world to me. It really, really does. The way that people really step up and support what we do here, it's unmatched. I don't see it really anywhere else on these platforms, so thank you. Well, my name's Dawn. So is that a nice name. That is a nice name. It makes me think of a sunrise. Things are dark just before you show up, Dawn. Hey, that's not a pickup line. That's just me being silly. But if somebody ever uses that on you as a pickup line, I would say at least give them a shot. Let them buy you a drink and see where it goes from there. Twitch says I can't buy right now. Cardoc Ren, you can't buy right now? Hang on, I forgot to add, oh gosh, yeah, hang on. In the member battle, we got to add 30, so that's 58, and then we got to make this a 13. Cardoc Ren's over here trying to give Purple a fighting chance in the contest, and it won't let him. I'm sure she's never heard that one before, old man. Has anybody actually said that to you? Lono never flirts with me. I mean, Adam, you're named after our first parents, so you're probably a pretty huge screw up. Maybe you'd like to. I'm just. Oh my gosh. I was like, where am I going with this? I've got it. Here we go. That was actually not bad. That was not bad. We were headed for disaster. We were absolutely headed for disaster, and I turned that around. That would work if we were both. If we were both gay, we'd be getting dinner. That would have absolutely worked. You'd have been like, well, all right. This guy just gets right. This guy just gets right to the facts of the matter. Oh my gosh. Halo's revolutionary, not just impactful. Mash, I swear to frick, listen to me. We don't need to have that debate again, okay? You already conceded and apologized. It's a matter of public record. It's a matter of public record that you conceded and apologized, so I'm not really sure why you would be bringing that up again, right? It's a weak year for gaming. Liquid, shut the frick up. Shut up. Oh, my golly. Oh, I definitely would use tongue. I respect the forward nature. Yeah. I think I would do okay. Have you guys ever thought about that? Like, how would you do if you, like all of you that are straight? How do you think you would fare if you weren't? Like, would you be able to play the field pretty well? I think I'd be all right. I think I'd be okay. You know, I think I would do just fine. Madam's sitting here scowling at me. I mean, seriously. I think you would struggle, Mama. You would struggle if you weren't straight. You're very harsh. Timothy says, I would kill it. I don't know what she's thinking. I don't know if she's thinking about killing me or if she's thinking if I'm right or am I wrong. What do you think? Go try. She said, go try. Oh, my gosh. I've been hit on by a lot of men over the years. I was gay. I would do just fine. Yeah, I don't think I have, actually. So maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe I'm overplaying my hand here. Flip the coin. Heads I win, tails you lose. A boyfriend of mine casually mentioned that he was in love with me once. Yeah, just casually brought it up and you guys hang out still? Or did you decide that wasn't a good idea because you thought it would be mean? Because that would be mean, right? You're overextending this, Mama. You don't need to keep up the glare. She said, I'm not glaring. This is my normal face. As I said, babe, I think you would struggle. She said, that's my normal face. Oh, my gosh. Hey, Cardoc Ren, you fix it. A 5-bomb comes in from Cardoc Ren and gets us to 710. Thank you so much. Oops, what the heck did I click? I clicked cancel. Oops, a daisy. There we go. Cardoc Ren keeps the hype train alive. I actually owe Purple 5 members, so I should add right now to the. I think I can add to the hype train because you guys are the ones that got us to the 700. You got it fixed? Well, there we go. We got a fight on our hands, boys. Let's see. Let's see if Purple can make a go at it. They just got to 18. They just got to 18. That could certainly turn the tide. Could certainly turn the tide. 58 to 18. You guys are only 40 behind. Boss Tackett coming in with 24 months. Thank you so much. Boss Tackett always makes me think of Christmas Carol because of what's the guy's name? Bob Cratchit. Your name always makes me think of that. The Gifted pushed out my comment. Oh, hang on. What'd you say, gangs? I could probably redefine the meaning of sausage party. I would be on the same level as a festival with the amount. Oh my gosh, gangs. See, that's too much. You went too far. I couldn't read that. Never go full. Never go full, gangs. You see the interview with the director of Ghost of Yotei. Yes, we are covering an aspect of what that director said today about the stances. So that will be part of my... We don't do the show open now right at the beginning of the show. So I let you guys kind of get in here, get settled. We're just kind of talking, being stupid, laughing. People are gifting, people are renewing. It also gives you guys a chance to just start like gifting and super chatting instead of like doing it during the show open and it doesn't get shouted out. So that'll be timestamped on past broadcasts as well. So if you ever come to shows later now, just look for the timestamps. Also, as you guys are kind of piling in for the day, do me a favor and hit the like button. We are starting earlier than normal, so start getting here if you want to. You don't have to, but it'd be great if you did. Start getting here earlier, right? Don't just mosey on in here at 10, because that's what I used to do. I'd go live at like 10:15. So I get why people are like, well, I'm not really going to show up until after 10. We have basically taken morning coffee and just made it the public opening of the stream because we feel that being in view of the public more throughout the day is better. We were doing a little too much of the members' content. We were creating more members' content than public, and that's not a good idea. So we had to do a little bit of reflection on our plans there. What's your opinion on the Switch 2? Is it worth the price? It being worth the price is very much dependent upon your preferences. Like right now, if I was not playing a review copy of Wu Chang Fallen Feathers or Death Stranding 2, I would just be absolutely knee-deep in Tears of the Kingdom with that upgrade because it looks phenomenal. Mario Kart's been a blast with my kiddos. They're playing it all the time. Donkey Kong is so fun. If none of that speaks to you, I don't think you should buy one. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, but I'm not quite sure what you would do with it, if that makes sense. I've been hit on by a few people at work, but I know better than to engage when I was single, especially not now. That CEO at the Coldplay, oh my gosh. Can you, the level of virality that just pours on the shame. Jiminy Christmas. What do you think about the game called Whispers from the Stars? There's a demo on Steam. I've never heard of it. What kind of game is it? Whispers of the Stars as a game. Is it Whisper from the Star? Oh, I'm sorry. You did write Whispers from the Star. Artificial intelligence conversation. So it's a game where you're interacting with an AI. Yeah, I don't really have an interest in games like this. This seems... I mean, this seems like basically like AI girlfriend, right? Like, I mean, that's kind of where I'm assuming it'll go to a certain degree. Which, if that's what you want to do, great. I don't really have any interest in that at all. I got other things to do with my time, and that ain't it. No one give a blank about people on a kiss cam until you do some stupid stuff like that. Oh, yeah. Yep. It went viral almost instantly. Yep. You think Delta Force will do well on console since COD is having a lot of issues lately? I mean, there's 20 seconds left on the hype train on purple. You guys have a little bit of time left. Holy crap, I wasn't paying attention. I should have gave you guys the discount because today's the day to go to war with YouTube. You guys got Pathlon, Phoenix, and MASH to contend with, but with that 35% discount, we might have been able to do it. So I've not looked into Delta Force, okay, but I will just say from a distance, every time we've seen this sort of thing happen, in my estimation, you're never going to keep enough people. That's always the challenge. That is always going to be the challenge. You're never going to keep enough people. You're going to get people to pile in and be like, hey, this is fun. New car smell. COD sucks right now. This feels fresh, fun, and new. And then a month later, they're not going to be around, most of them, I don't think. Doesn't really make sense to give a discount and up to 5 every 25. That's a double whammy. This is true. This is true. I was thinking of only doing it on Fridays, though. I was. Maybe we should just continue holding off for now, though. Maybe just 5 every 50. I do owe YouTube, by the way. I do need to pay up on YouTube. So I owe Purple the 5. They got us to the 700. And then YouTube got us to the 650. So yeah, for now, I think maybe we should stick to that just so I can reassess and crunch some of the numbers on, like, is this counterproductive? So, what's good, Savage Sharkbite? I appreciate you, man. Good to see you. All right, there's the 5IO. There's also a CEO who got caught with head of legal. It's amazing lack of self-awareness. Yo, what's good, Derek? I haven't seen you in a while. I want to play Time Splitters 3, and I found out that I can on my PS5. I wonder if the controls are okay today. Oh, I have no idea. Time Splitters 3 is on PlayStation 5? Time Splitters 3, PS5. What do you... Huh? Time Splitters Future Perfect. Is that what you're talking about? It looks like it released... It looks like it released in August of last year. Has anybody tried the modern ports of Time Splitters 2 and okay, so Time Splitters Future Perfect has a really great score. Out of 5,000 reviews, it's got like a 92. So I would imagine this is probably worth checking out. I mean, it's included with PlayStation Plus, or it's like $2.50 right now. Oh. Wait, does this come with both 1 and 2? I don't understand. Why does it say add to editions? What is this? What's the difference? Is the pinnacle of the Acclaim series? Yeah, why can't I go look at Time Splitters 2? I can just add these to my library. They're in PS Plus. Okay. I just want to see how Time Splitters 2 was doing with respect to a score. I just wanted to see it, like, in the actual storefront. Yeah, here we go. Similar score. Well, same score. So are they all included? You can't afford PlayStation Plus these days? I mean, can you afford... I mean, I would hope you can afford $2.50. You know, if it's a game you want to try. That would be a shame to miss out on such a great sale. You know what I mean? That's a great sale. Goodness gracious. Yeah, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers is next week. If you guys are piling in, make sure and hit the like button. We're not even through the first hour of the stream yet. Let's try to get 200 likes. That will definitely help us out. Feel free to start sharing these streams as well. Try to get more people in here. What's on sale for $2.50? Time Splitters Future whatever, and then Time Splitters 2. What's it called? Time Splitters Future Perfect. There we go. I have to decide which one to get. Oh, well, I don't know what to tell you. I couldn't make a judgment on that. I've not played those games in such a long time. You see the report that 8,000 games released this year on Steam were made by AI. That's crazy. Yeah, that's going to have to be, I think they're going to have to really, I think they're probably already working on this, so I'm probably behind in saying this, but they really need to make sure all that stuff's, like, properly categorized, because it will absolutely take over. It'll just, the storefront will be just horrible. PlayStation had to recently do something about that. They were getting these scam games in the storefront, so it would look like repo on Steam. So if a game goes viral on Steam, this, like, fly-by-night publisher would publish, like, really crappy knockoff versions and put them in PS and put them in the PlayStation Store. Well, finally, somebody drew enough attention to it, and PlayStation now removed all the games from that publisher. You'd love to see all the simulator nonsense be removed from the store? When you say simulator nonsense, what exactly do you mean? What are you referring to? That's pretty good, Fuzzy. You know, he has his moments. I think his comedy is usually horrible, but that's not bad. Drug dealer simulator, like, why is that a thing? Oh, I mean, so I don't think it's about necessarily what you're actually doing. A lot of the times it's about the structure. if the structure of a game like that can make you feel some sense of organization, calm, and achievement. I remember I was doing a gas station simulator, and there was something very calming about it and something very relaxing. We were experimenting with an idea of like we were going to do a channel, and I was trying to make content in simulators, and we ended up not doing it. But I remember playing that and thinking, I get this. And it wasn't like, oh, this is just my dream to run a gas station. There's just something about all of the mini rituals. Sweeping the floor. Well, now that the floor is swept, you can put stuff on it. Now that stuff's on it, you can maintain it. Now that you can maintain it, you can sell it. Now that you can sell stuff, you've got money. Now that you've got money, you can paint the walls. Now that you've painted the walls, more people come in. Like, I don't know. It's not like, oh man, this has always been what I wanted to do, is run a gas station in the middle of a desert. Not all simulator games, but certain simulator games probably shouldn't be games. Yeah, I don't. That's not a conversation I feel like having. Given that Nintendo are valuing their game as Mario Kart World more or better than Donkey Kong, the reviews indicate the pricing should have been the other way around. I mean, I don't necessarily think that... I don't think they probably look at it that way, Furious Pickle. And here's why. More than likely, the price of Mario Kart was determined by an executive somewhere who did analysis and said, listen, demand for Mario Kart will be automatically one of the highest levels of demand for any of our games. One of the highest levels of demand because of how many copies the previous Mario Kart has sold. It's an absurd amount, right? Isn't it like 70,000? Isn't it like 70 million something copies because it's crossed over so many gens? So I think that's probably the main thing driving Mario Kart's price, is just pure opportunism from an executive or some marketing research branch that was like, yeah, you could totally charge $80 for Mario Kart and it's not going to cause any major problems. Charging $80 for Donkey Kong, people would be like, well, you got some stones on you charging that for Donkey Kong. Because, like, Donkey Kong is a beloved character, and we obviously have some of the greatest games from that generation, Super Nintendo, I'm thinking, in Donkey Kong Country. But Donkey Kong's not exactly at the threshold and level of demand as a Mario game or a Mario Kart, right? DK is always going to be a little bit of a second fiddle. I mean, maybe not now after this game. It might really elevate him to a more popular station within sort of the view of Nintendo games. But I don't think Donkey Kong got the pull of a Mario Kart. So they knew you can't charge $80 for Donkey Kong. Mario Kart has been around since Super Nintendo, just like Donkey Kong. But Mario Kart as a franchise, I think, is just infinitely more popular than Donkey Kong. Which, as a long-standing gamer, that feels weird to say, because like Donkey Kong was in the arcades, and Donkey Kong was on the Coleco, and it was one of the first games I ever played. But in the grand scheme of things, I think they knew we can charge $80 for Mario Kart, and it won't hurt the demand of the game that much. Charging $80 for a Donkey Kong game would be, I don't know. Donkey Kong's older than the SNES. Like I said, I knew someone was going to go there. Right, exactly. You're like, well, he's been around longer. It doesn't really matter, does it? There are franchises that are much older than Pokemon. Does that mean that they're more popular than Pokemon? No. I mean, Pokemon is insane, right? I mean, some of the earliest titles that are still very popular don't hold a candle to Pokemon, and they're older. So Donkey Kong being older certainly makes it weird to act like, yeah, he doesn't quite have the pull, but he just doesn't. Mario Kart's not worth $80. DK seems like it'd be better to sell. I don't agree. They didn't make the decision based on your opinion about what's worth $80. They made the decision based on what they knew would sell more. It's a pure... when you guys enter this discussion and you inject opinion into it, you have to understand you're injecting opinion into math equations. It just doesn't compute, right? It would be like sitting in a math class and being like, I think that equation's better. I think that equation's more worth our time. The teacher would be like, what the frick are you talking about? That wouldn't make any sense. You're bringing subjective opinion to something that's a math equation. These companies don't like go, well, is it worth, will people think it? No, they measure demand. They look at public interest. They look at history of the franchise. They look at history of sales, and they say, if we sell this at 80, market research dictates we'll make this much more money. The decline in sales and demand will be not really even remotely a factor. More than likely, they would have done the exact same thing with Donkey Kong. They would have crunched the numbers, crunched demand, crunch market awareness, likability of the character. They probably had internal testing. They probably had people sitting down and reacting to the game and the everything else. And they determined, no, you can't do that with Donkey Kong. It's a mathematical equation. There is no subjectivity to it. I mean, there is if they're actually doing like market research, but even that's mathematical. How many people thumbs up? How many people thumbs down? They're basically turning consumer reaction into a mathematical data point to then come to a conclusion about what to charge for the game. So when you're like, but I don't think it's worth 80. Well, no, that's fine for you to do as the consumer, but trying to bring that to bear on the decision is just like, these companies are like, yeah, that's not how we made the decision. I think DK at 80 would have blown people's hair back. They're like, what the frick? Donkey Kong? Like, really? I understand and agree with your reasoning on why they chose Mario Kart for 80. To me, DK shows way more innovation and features. And right there, you're measuring something that, again, may not even be a factor for a lot of people. People look at Mario Kart as very replayable. There's lots of unlocks. It's a party game. They can play it with their friends. They can play it for months. They can replay it. They can rerun the tracks. They can play online. Tracks can get added later. Donkey Kong is likely one really good exhaustive playthrough, and then most folks, not all, but most folks will probably just be done with it at that point. Ikagang with a 14 spot. Imagine GTA comes out at 70. Nintendo will look clown. If you think GTA is coming out at 70, I think you're kidding yourself. If Microsoft and Nintendo were willing to do 80, Rockstar's not going to hesitate. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but my opinion is Nintendo and Xbox have just completely opened up the runway for Rockstar to do it. I think Rockstar was going to do it either way, to be quite honest with you. Before people are like, Reforge blames Microsoft for GTA 6 $80. I mean, that'd make for, a great dishonest video, but I think they were going to do it either way. And now they've got all the reason in the world. Well, Nintendo did it, and Xbox did it. Why would we not do it? Think about what the executives would say. Yo, it's good to take the seeds. Think about what the executives would say. They'd be like, those guys are charging 80. Why aren't we charging 80? We've got one of the biggest games of a generation, probably of the decade. Why are we not charging 80? That would be a conversation I would imagine they would have. Let me just kind of show you guys how Q&A works, and then I'm going to clear the queue because this is something you can do all throughout the show, and then I'll answer your questions later. So submit your questions and then make sure and stick around. Mash says, what are the biggest game series that are popular but you never had a chance or time to play? For me, it's Far Cry and Metro. For me, it is The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 is like beloved and praised, and I got probably like 15% of the way through that back when I was a Destiny streamer, and I didn't get to go any further with it, and I always kind of was bummed about that. Yeah. I could also say, like, well, Pokemon's really popular, and I never really got into Pokemon, but I don't really have a desire to get into Pokemon. I don't feel a draw there. I feel like I missed out on Witcher 3, because now I feel like I would play it, and it wouldn't feel as good as I would want it to feel. The combat was growing on me. A lot of people don't like the combat in The Witcher 3, but most people that stick with it end up feeling like, no, it gets better, and I was starting to feel that as well. Liquid says I didn't vibe with the combat. A lot of people were not big fans of Witcher 3's combat. And I know why. I remember when I played it, I was like, no, I get why people kind of don't like this. Guys on YouTube, go through that ritual, hit that like button, put something in chat that you want to talk about or ask about. We're having just sort of an opening to the show, chill time, and then we will, I'll do the little show open and we'll talk about all the various things that have been going on in gaming news. Mash says that Witcher 3 did not age well, in my opinion. So many games built on that type of game since. That feels like an unfair way. Oh, wait, hang on. Are you judging it based on fatigue with that game type? Or are you saying others have done that game type and have done a better job with certain things? I was only about that game of its concept in the description. It said there isn't a dialogue tree, and you're trying to rescue her by taking her to stuff with voice or text. Plus, you had those videos about AI. Sorry, on the way to Florida. No, you're good, Wolf Saints. I mean, I made videos about AI as a subject matter, and you guys did this channel. You guys threw such great amount of support behind it, and you really believed in my vision and my predictions. I mean, the opposite of that. That didn't happen at all. The videos did terrible, and you guys all thought I was full of it, and everything I put in those videos has come true. Thanks for that. I'm not bitter at all. Anyways, as a topic, it's interesting, but I'm not actually interested in the games themselves. I don't want to interact with an AI woman simulator thing. I just have no interest in that. I'm not shaming anybody that wants to, but like, it just does nothing to me. It's just like, vroom, vroom, it just like bounces right off my gigantic forehead. It just doesn't do anything for me. I was there. I supported them. I appreciate that, Lone Wolf. I played it on the PS5. I felt like the combat was terrible. There are other games like Assassin's Creed with better combat. This is something that's going to become, I think, very challenging going forward. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today with Echoes of the End, a game coming out this year where I'm like, I don't know about that combat. I'm like, it does look like it might have some potential to be good, but this is going to be a significant challenge going forward. There are games that are coming out from smaller studios, scrappy studios, AA, whatever, smaller budgets, where the combat is pristine. Okay? And if you come out with your combat in your game and it doesn't feel pristine, it's really going to stand out. It would almost be like it's kind of like the 30 FPS conversation. I think people are generally on my side on this. For a long time, I got a lot of pushback. I almost never get pushback on this now. That 30 FPS is just a thing of the past. Stop defending 30 FPS games. Stop coming up with weird, contortionist excuses for it. Just accept that it's a thing of the past. We're not... Remember, this one is one that I want to regularly take as a victory lap. Do you remember all the people who said we're going to go back to 30 FPS games, and they had like 2 games as an example, like Gotham Knights and I think like Starfield or something? Like, yep, we're going to go back to 30 FPS games. I'm like, yeah, we sure are. 2 games out of like 300 every year. Oh boy, here we go. What a trend. We have clearly not gone back to 30 FPS games. We have not. That was one of the dumbest predictions I think I have ever seen people make. Okay? That is not the only person that said it, Zinthos. I saw pretty significant folks expressing that fear that we're going back to 30 FPS games. No, we did not. And no, we are not. We are only going forward, okay? To me, it's kind of like the 30 FPS thing. If you drop a game right now at 30 FPS, you're going to stand out big time. People are like, what the heck is this? There's a high chance GTA 6 will run at 30. I don't believe in any of those predictions anymore. The more I see signaled from Rockstar and the more rumors we hear about Red Dead getting a 60 upgrade, I think they've signaled that that's just not the case at all. If they launch that game at 30, I really don't think it's going to go the way that people think it's going to go. It'll be insanely popular. It'll never do poorly, but it will be a significant point of contention in the gaming world. It will not be brushed over to the degree that people think it will be brushed over. It will be a pretty big problem, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's related to the delay. Wouldn't shock me at all if they're like, we can't do that. You guys have got to figure it out. I think it's related to the things they did in GTA 5, some of the tests, some of the updates, some of the 60 FPS stuff that they've done recently. I think it's related. I think they were trying to figure out how to do it. Beside the point. If you release a game right now, let's imagine GTA 6 doesn't exist. You just release a game right now at 30. It's a major point of criticism. Within combat systems, I'm coming all the way back around to my original point. Within combat systems, if you launch a game right now and your combat system doesn't feel very good, I'm going to treat it like a 30 FPS game. I'm going to be like, look, man, I got a bunch of games I want to play. I'm not wasting my time on something with crappy animations or clunky movement or a bad targeting system or a broken camera. Like, I'm not doing it. There's too many games to play. We played that one Imperial or whatever, and it just felt terrible. There was no lock on. The movement felt awful. The enemy attacks were weird. I was like, I ain't playing this. I'm not playing this. Why would I play this? I can go play something else. I can play a small team's game and have better combat in some cases. Lono discovers only playing decent games he enjoys. I don't understand. I don't get the joke. Games got to stand out this gen. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You will stand out severely now if you come out with your game and your combat system's kind of butt. You know? Lock-on isn't a necessity for combat to be good. I mean, I don't know who you're arguing with. I didn't say that, so you're not arguing with me. I didn't say it was a necessity. I said it didn't have lock-on. Enemy movement was weird. There was all sorts of awkwardness to it. It just felt bad. And in general, I don't think you need lock-on. You need some type of lock-on. Like, one of my favorite games of all time doesn't have a traditional lock-on system, Ghost of Tsushima, and yet you still lock on to the enemies. Spider-Man didn't have lock-on? Huh? The best way for GTA 6 to stand out is to introduce something revolutionary, never really done in gaming before, like a 10 FPS mode. Play this game in stunning 10 FPS. I'm agreeing with you. Don't waste your time on games that don't feel good. Right, and I think in the past, people would say, well, I'm going to keep going. There's not much else, there's not much else to play right now. I think people would sort of press on. I don't think people will do that now. I'm going to give you an example. So when I was playing Death Stranding 2 in the Decima engine and experiencing the fluidity and the smoothness and just how good it runs, I booted up something else. I forget what I was doing. I don't know what it was. It might have been Liza P or something. And I was instantly sort of like, oh, wow. A game running smooth is like really important because Liza P also felt really good. But if I were to go from Decima and I were to go from, Death Stranding 2 to something like, I don't know, Black Myth Wukong on PS5, it would be nauseating. It'd be like, what happened? You're going from excellence to almost the opposite of that with regard to performance, right? So I think more and more that bar is being raised. I think AA studios are raising it. I think indie studios are raising it. I think AAA is also raising it. I know it's really in vogue right now to like rail against AAA and act like they can't do anything right, which is to ignore, some of the biggest and best releases every year. Conversely, we ignore all the bad AA and indie titles that release every year to act like AAA and indies are the saviors of gaming when they shovel out more bad games than AAA. Honestly, quantitatively, they do. I mean, it's simple math if you look at the number of games that launch on Steam. So I don't think we should be like creating this weird... It's like a new form of tribalism where like you cheer for AAA games to fail because there's this weird idea that like, hating AAA is the right way, I don't know, to talk about things. And like AA and indie can do no wrong. But I do think that more games, all games, AAA, AA's, and indies alike, I think they're raising the bar. I think I played some games by small, medium, and large-sized teams lately where I'm like, this is an incredible game. This is an incredible experience. And if you are not doing that, I think that's going to be one of the hardest things about making games in the future is the overwhelming amount of quality increase. Quality is starting to dovetail with the quantity. Does that make sense? So, like, typically, you'd have, like, one or two crazy good games every year, and then everything else would be, fine or bad. Now I feel like we're getting a lot more games quantitatively, and more games within that quantity are of a very good quality. I think you're seeing smaller studios get better with the tools, get better with Unreal. We know that Unreal was pretty bad early this gen, and it's getting better. I need to check the frames on the game I'm playing now because the next is Miles Morales, and I'm assuming it's top performance, so I may have a comparison. Yeah, Miles Morales on PS5 is going to give you great performance. Yeah. Could we get 15 more likes? And we are about an hour into the broadcast, so I want to read through the news items, and this can drive Q&A. If you guys have questions, you can use the question command or the Q command. If you're a member, those will hit the question queue, and we will answer those later. We do that kind of later in the stream. I'm also going to be kind of showing you Echoes of the End, an extended gameplay trailer. We'll take a look at that, and I'll give a little bit of a reaction. So make sure you're smashing the like button. You guys sometimes, a lot of times, I know I forget to do it as well when I'm watching content. You know, take a quick second and do that. Get me to 200 likes as I start this. You guys that have been showing up on YouTube, make sure you're sharing make sure you're sharing the streams, make sure you're sharing the videos, and also make sure your notifications are turned on. Yeah, let's take a look here at the various news items. So you may not have actually noticed this about Ghost of Yotei, but it is actually the biggest change to combat that they could have made. Now, something that made Ghost of Tsushima stand apart were the 4 stances. Now, I know other games have done stances, but this was something that was highly praised in Tsushima that really made the combat feel very, very good. You would change on the fly according to the enemies approaching you. You would just basically hold the sword and stand differently. And the big question that I had going into Ghost of Yotei was, how are they going to change or evolve this part of the combat? Well, in Ghost of Yotei, they have decided to remove the stance system entirely, and instead, they have given Atsu 5 different weapons. You had 4 stances in Tsushima, and now you basically have 5 stances in the way of 5 different weapons in Ghost of Yotei. Now, some of us thought maybe that the stance system was still functioning in some way in this clip in particular, because you will notice at one point she ends up with a spear, and she does change the way that she's holding the spear at different times. And I thought maybe she was changing her stance system, or her stance. Right here coming up, you will notice after she defeats this gentleman here, she will move the way she's holding the spear right there. She's actually just moving into a blocking position, and she's just holding the block. She's not actually changing her stance. So the stance system has been removed entirely, and this is what they said in a Games Radar interview. We've replaced the stance system with weapons. In fact, we added a 5th weapon, and these weapons are more than a simple visual replacement. Now, they talk a little bit about like what you're going to be able to do with the weapons, and I'll get to that in a moment. But at first, many people have thought, well, that's going to be a bad deviation. I'm not going to like it. I've even seen people sort of decry this as a negative on Twitter. Fans of Tsushima are thinking that this is a bad thing, okay? In the same interview, they elaborated about how spears can send foes hurtling, the Kasurigama is meant for fighting multiple enemies at once, and the new disarm mechanic will allow you to actually be disarmed or to disarm others. Now, they gave an example of how this could lead to some spontaneity, some emergency or emergent properties of the combat, things that just sort of happen in a dynamic or random way that might not happen to the next person. Instead of sort of going into a village and you go through what feels like a lot of scripted fights where you fight the big guy, the medium guy, and then the normal guys and the range guys, you may end up losing your weapon. And they gave an example of how maybe you're fighting up on a bridge and you have to use an enemy's disarmed weapon because you were disarmed and your weapon fell. Okay, this echoes to me of how you would have to sort of switch on the fly from one enemy to another when you were in your harder sections of the game and there were a lot of enemies trying to attack you at once. That really led to a feeling of randomness where you were adapting and felt very good about adapting. You felt very strong and very aware, and I think you're going to feel similarly in this game where if you get disarmed and have to sort of rearm yourself, that's going to play a pivotal role in you feeling, I think, like you're a warrior sort of adapting on the fly. Now, this sounds very different, honestly, than how Tsushima played with a katana the whole time. You would merely then switch stances with that katana depending on who was pushing you. In other words, the combat system in Ghost of Yotei is a lot more evolved than many people initially thought, myself included. So what do you think? Like, is this a big enough change? Do you like this change? Are you going to miss the stance system? Many people are saying, well, it's just more of the same. It doesn't look any different. I actually think this is a significant refutation of that observation. I think we're really showing that many people don't actually watch trailers and gameplay with sort of good faith. They're actually looking for differences. They're looking for changes. They just sort of do this sort of shallow analysis of like, well, it looks the same to me. And it's like, well, actually, it looks very different because she's engaging in combat in ways that Jin never could and using weapons that Jin never could. And there's entirely new systems of being armed or disarmed in the midst of combat, in the midst of being able to switch weapons. So If you're watching this later, I'd love to know your thoughts. You can leave a comment below. Make sure you come by those live streams so you can discuss them. And we're going to move on as well to my Donkey Kong Bananza first impressions. So you've obviously seen that Donkey Kong Bananza sort of taken the review circuit by storm, but everybody's asking the question, is it worth it? People have also asked about performance. I'm going to answer both of those questions. After playing for just a couple of hours, I have to say, this is worth it in my estimation. It might not be worth it to you, but this to me really captures everything that I loved about Mario Galaxy 1 and Mario Galaxy 2, as well as even more recently with Astrobot. There's just this fun, simple charm. The maps, the items, the abilities, you're slowly getting more abilities. You have a skill tree to make those abilities more effective. You're like clearing the map. There's an actual map to help you find items. If you get enough of those items, you can like buy customization. Like my guy's running around green and looking cool. Now, obviously, the game can look cool, be fun, and be a good time, but many people know that I really care about 60 FPS, as we were just talking about it a moment ago, and they've asked me about performance. I was very pleased with how well this game ran. Obviously, this is not some rock-solid, ray-traced game on a PC or my PS5 Pro, but the minor frame issues that I saw here and there were not that game impacting. I've played a lot of games that have had frame rate issues. This is not like playing Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch 1, where it became kind of unbearable, especially if it was raining or you were using some of the tools that was dropping the frames into like the 20s. Even at the time, I thought, well, dropping from 30 to 20 is not that bad. And then I played it, and I was like, no, this is actually pretty hard to deal with. I've not experienced anything like that in Donkey Kong Bananza. Now, obviously, I have not rolled credits, so there could be areas later where it gets worse or more frustrating. I will obviously report back. I really want to test out co-op and report back to you as well on how that feels, because my wife and I loved Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, sort of companion-style co-op. The question is, my wife and I have gotten into more challenging games like Borderlands 1, 2, and 3, and we've played RoboQuest and Gunfire Reborn and Diablo 3, and we played a lot of games together. And I don't know if that companion style sort of not do very much aspect of co-op will be as enjoyable as it once was. So I will report back to see if there's any more performance issues or how co-op feels. Now, the next bit of news is not something that I want to report, but we're going to be checking out this game later, and I wanted to make sure and cover this because this is one that I was looking forward to, and I believe I put this on y'all's wish list and radar, but I wanted to report that Shadow Labyrinth, the Pac-Man Metroidvania from Bandai Namco, has not actually received very good scores through the review circuit. It has a 74 on Metacritic and a 74 on OpenCritic. OpenCritic says only 50% of the critics recommend the game. That is not very good. Now, that's not terrible. It's obviously not trash, but a 74 means you've got people giving it like 90s, 85s, and 80s. Well, to get a 74 means people are giving it very low scores in other scenarios. It sounds like the combat's not that great. It sounds like the boss fights can be hard sort of just for the sake of being hard, and that the Metroidvania aspects aren't landing well. Somebody talking about how like retread is a slog. Retread in a Metroidvania should never be a slog. It should be one of the better aspects of the game. You should feel more empowered, more abilities. Maybe getting fast travel at a certain point to streamline certain elements instead of making somebody run through an area that has nothing for them. So I am a little concerned that this game is not going to land all that well. We will obviously be checking the user scores to see if it lands stronger with users. Sometimes that does happen. Sometimes critics are a little more harsh. I do wonder, with the deluge of insanely high-quality games we've been getting lately, are some of the review outlets going to become a little jaded and be more harsh in their critique and their criticisms of games, and maybe some games are going to get a raw deal. That could simply not be the case, and this game could be disappointing. We will have to wait and see, again, what I think as well as what the users think when they score it on the various platforms that it has landed. So you can let me know what you think, if you've played it, if you paid attention to it, if you think it's worth checking out. Now, I've got a game for your wish list and your radar. This is one to pay attention to, but again, you may want to hold off because I am seeing some things in here that might take hands-on experience to truly make a judgment about. This game is called Echoes of the End, and it made its debut during the Summer Game Fest season. And this is an action-adventure game with clear influences from games like God of War. It's got melee-focused influence as well. Sometimes it feels a little influenced by Forspoken also. They just dropped this extended gameplay trailer that I'm showing you right now. there are elements of the combat that look a little bit slower, and I think maybe in games like this, people expect it to be a little bit snappier, maybe a little bit more button mashy. But the more I watch and sort of analyze and reflect on what it is they're showcasing, it does seem like combat is a little bit more intentional. It also seems to move and play a little bit like a game that maybe was originally designed to be played in first person. It just kind of has that stiff vibe as she kind of navigates the space, and maybe they made a change at some point. But I do think later on, the more she plays and shows some of that intentionality with like parries, use of magic, very heavy hitting attacks and combos, it looks like it could be really enjoyable. I do think this is one you may want to wait for streamers to get their hands on, YouTubers to do reviews, or you yourself may want to, get it in an instance where maybe you could just try it out. I don't know if there would be a game trial of it anywhere or a demo of it anywhere, or you can obviously play it on Steam and then refund it if it doesn't feel good. They do claim that the game is about you're driven by themes of trust, sacrifice, and redemption. The story unfolds across 10 handcrafted chapters filled with cinematic moments, memorable characters, and high-stakes decisions. Now, this game launches on the Xbox Series consoles, PS5, and PC on August the 12th. So one of the many games landing in August is this one, Echoes of the End. Now, if this game was not on your radar, or maybe you have no intention of playing it, maybe you've got games to put on my radar, you can list those below in the comments. And this gameplay was captured on PS5. Here's where I think you do start to see some of the intention coming into play with multiple targets. And again, you have a companion with you. I just think some of her movement, like her step forwards, her swings, her slashes, they just take a really, really long time. But here she starts parrying, and that's why I think maybe this game is going to feel better than it looks. Because there's nothing, I don't think, as quite as rewarding as seeing a big enemy telegraph. And right there, she got some kind of a finisher where she jumped over the attack. But right here is where I think you start to see some of that coming through. I love watching an enemy telegraph wind up and then getting a great parry. And then right there, she used magic to kind of ping-pong the enemy between her and her companion. So I think this does look like it has potential. But it also looks like it might frustrate people with it sort of being maybe a little bit more of a slow and plodding and sort of clunky feel to the combat. Enemies even ignore the companion. It did seem like the enemies were ignoring. No, this is not the Plague Tale game. This game is called Echoes of the End. This one kind of came out of nowhere. I hadn't seen anything about it. I hadn't heard anything about it. It just sort of showed up during Summer Game Fest season. This style of combat just always looks so boring to me, says Derek. I can't dig these kind of games. And I completely understand people that don't like these types of games. I want to watch a little bit more. I didn't get to watch these sections. So she did some kind of telekinetic thing there where she slammed the scorpion. No. That guy's actually fighting with the companion now. So that the ogre-looking thing, like the pig ogre, he actually was fighting with the companion. So it does look like your companion can draw aggro. And it looks like she needs to manage the room a little bit more. Her movement is just very much on an axis. Like she's not, there's a lack of freedom and fluidity in the way that she moves. But the parry animations got my attention. I like the look and feel of that. That's definitely an unblockable, I should say. So it looks like you're going to have that little combo he did there. And then obviously they've got the cinematic finishers there. Combat looks stiff. I'll tell you what it is. Just sort of my off-the-cuff analysis right now on what the issue is. It's not the animations. Parry animation looks good. The swings look sort of weighty and powerful. It's the movement. It just doesn't look like moving towards or away from or within the fighting space. It just looks a little clumsy. Let me just kind of show you what I mean here, okay? So she's going to be swinging on this, and she's going to get attacked from behind. And look how she has to relocate. Do you see that? So she rolls away, and then she moves on a very stiff axis. Very much so. So the roll away is not a problem. It's the point after this where it's like, what the frick? Now again, when you're playing the game, sometimes you don't see this. You might not see or feel this, but my analysis right now is the combat animations are fine. her movement feels very rigid and almost on very stiff axis points. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember when we did the breakdown of Gotham Knights? And I was like, it looks like they're moving on a grid. Watch what she does. That just didn't look good at all. It looks like she's turning. Now, there was better because she just straight up turned around, right? She just straight up turned around. Again, parry animations are great. Her sword swings there look good. Just she grabs it with two hands and she's swinging. Look how much weight she's putting behind her swings. Her feet are pivoting with every swing, right? Kind of like how like a boxer uses his hips to spin to add weight to his swing. She's putting a lot of weight behind her swings. Two hands, wham, wham. Like, I like that. It's her movement. Now, once she's locked on, that didn't look too bad. She's locked on to this guy, and see how she's navigating the space, sidestepping? That dodge looked good. That wind-up looked good. She does some kind of a purple infused attack here. The wind-up looks very good. She messes up this combo. She gets hit in the middle. See? I think there's a lot of potential here. There are pieces and parts of it that look good, and there are random moments where I'm like, that looked really stiff and awkward. And then other points I'm like, no, that actually looks really good. That looks fine. So I think they're just going to have to go in and give it a little bit of tender love and care. I just think there's some polish needed, because that will grate against the experience. You don't want the moment to moment to feel stiff or like you're fighting with the character or fighting with some kind of a movement grid that is too restrictive. Like, it's like, well, I can't really move in the ways that I want. This game is called Echoes of the End. It comes out August the 12th. And it's very much on my radar because it looks like the kind of game that I would enjoy. I like these sort of linear combat-focused games now because they just sort of get to the point. I don't need every game like this to be some big open world tour de force where, like, I'm picking up every trinket and opening every door and opening every chest. Like, I think there's room for games like that, but I really do appreciate now games like this where it's like, move through it linearly. Okay, it's time to fight. Okay, it's time to fight. Okay, time for a boss. Time for a puzzle. I've really grown to appreciate these games more and more. Dylan's going to gift a member and get the member count going once again. You guys are now working towards a really big one of 1,000. If you guys get 1,000 on the week, we are going to do another whole album. If that's not a big enough motivation for you guys, if you think there's something better that we should do with really big member goals, let me know. I'm willing to do really fun stuff with you guys on Friday nights, even Saturday nights if it seems fitting. Performance seems solid. Again, we're seeing some issues there in the reflections as she pans back. Watch the water. Yeah, just some issues there. Nothing major, but noticeable. Very God of War inspired with sort of the way this is the vibe and the feel. You know, you're in sort of like a, what would you describe these environments as? Like Nordic, but she's going into places and opening chests in a very similar way, like even the cinematics of opening the chest. Newbie question, wouldn't it be nice if combat systems like this include a cancel button? There's so many times you just swing in the air as death animations play. Okay, so what you're describing is called animation cancel, right? Animation cancel, I actually argue, is one of the best ways to create a hyperactive and empowering combat system. Now, there are people that will disagree with me, and they will say, no, you need to be very selective and very choosy when you decide to do your attacks instead of just button mashing like an idiot. Here's my pushback. I have very regularly cited that okay, can we just talk about something? I just want to talk about something. That's probably what you're noticing. I can't stand when you put out gameplay and someone ends up playing very sloppily. Like, this is just an overcommitment. You can see him coming on your flank and you just completely overcommit and get bopped on the side. Like, you know, if you're going to put together some gameplay, have the person play with a reasonable amount of intelligence, like Jiminy Christmas. That wasn't like before when she was stuck in an animation and the guy came out of frame. That guy was clearly moving up on her flank and she just completely committed to a 3-hit combo, knowing she was likely going to get hit. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I have commonly cited games like Ori and the Blind Forest and even Rayman Legends for giving you a checkpoint that's right there where the really crazy part is supposed to happen, okay? You're like, why are we suddenly talking about Ori and Rayman? I'm going to make this make sense, I promise. There are sections of Ori and there are sections of Rayman that are insanely intense. And the reason they can make it intense is because they let you do the checkpoint right there. You're like, oh, I almost got it. If you had to do 60 seconds or 2 minutes, anywhere from 60 seconds to 120 seconds of retread before you get to the really intense part, it would become very grating and very frustrating. But because they empower the player with a checkpoint that's right there, it gives, I think, a lot of leeway for the developer to crank the intensity. Now I'm going to land the plane. If you give the player the ability to animation cancel, I believe you can make a combat system that is far more intense. Not this rigid trade hitting thing where you go hit, get out of the way, hit, get out of the way. That's very boring and rote and rehearsed. If you give me animation cancel, you can make the enemy fast, fluid, aggressive. Like you can have enemies coming in from all sides. Okay, that was cool. You can make scenarios where you take the intensity up to 11 because you've empowered the player to adapt to almost any stimuli. If someone's coming from the side, if someone's shooting an arrow at you, if someone's bull rushing you, right? Whatever it is that's coming towards you that you want to be able to react to, animation cancel allows you to feel as if you are in complete control of what is going on. Locking the player in so that like, well, I hit swing, and now this guy's coming in from out of the frame, and I know he's going to get me. I need to animation cancel, and I can't. Now, there has to be a turning point. There has to be a point of no return. I will say this. You can't, like, swing your sword, and as it's intersecting with the enemy's body, animation cancel, and basically cheese. Like, you're going to get damage, animation cancel swing, animation cancel swing, animation cancel swing, right? You understand what I'm saying? How as her sword's intersecting with his body, you can't like animation cancel that swing and then do another one. You would basically break the combat system if you were to do this. So even animation cancel has to have a point of no return where it doesn't work. You have fully swung the sword. It's kind of like swinging a bat in baseball, right? There's a point at which you can stop, and they point to the guy on the baseline to say whether or not the person's wrist broke, and if it did, I might not be using the right terms here, but you've seen the guys like stop their swing, and as long as their wrist doesn't turn, it's considered that they didn't swing, and then the ref, the umpire will say that it wasn't a strike or it was a strike. I would imagine you could do something very similar with swings of a sword or swings of a melee weapon or even punches where at a certain point you have passed the threshold. You are fully swinging. You can't animation cancel. But I do think animation cancel should be endemic to almost every combat system because I think it would enable developers to make much more, I think, intense fights where you could push the player a lot more. You can actually really, I think, throw the full gauntlet. Yeah, check swing, thank you. The full gauntlet of combat at a person. Because if not, I do feel like many games get stuck in that rote rehearsed thing of swing, swing, dodge, or swing, swing, block. And like you can't go, well, I'm going to go for that third swing just in case I can get it. And if somebody comes in from the side, I can always do an animation cancel, right? I don't mean you should instantly be able to, this game is called Echoes of the End. It's coming out August the 12th. You should instantly be able to attack again. Just mean stop short. No, I agree with you, Derek. I'm just saying I do think there are some inherent weaknesses that would come with animation cancel. You would have to be careful to not create an instance where it trivializes all the combat. Where you're like, swing, animation cancel. Swing, animation cancel. Like, let's say the swing animation has, let's say this is so many frames of a swing, right? Well, damage happens here in the middle. You wouldn't want to empower people to be like halfway through the animation frames and cancel and basically cheese animation cancel to where like, well, I'm getting damage, but then I'm canceling the animation so that I can do a greater amount of DPS, damage per second, because even if you can't attack right after, you're still resetting your player into a neutral stance, which then means you are reset now to do another, attack, maybe faster. You would just need to ensure that animation cancel is not cheesable is all. Input queuing is a must if you don't have animation canceling. Lobo says, what are you saying? Stellar Blade's combat thrived because of animation canceling. Ghost of Tsushima, the list is extensive. I just think, and this again, this is just my opinion, I think that is a version of combat evolution that just should be an expectation. It's like, it's 2025. Why aren't you letting me animation cancel? Like, what's the big deal? I don't think there's anything quite as frustrating as playing a game and you can see the attack coming from the side and you're like, well, I can't do anything. I'm stuck in this animation. I know it's coming. I would love to be able to hit a button to get away. I can't. What you're asking, Derek, sounds like the risk of getting rid of the risk of attacking. No, you wouldn't be getting rid of the risk of attacking, Jaster, because every decision that you would be making would still be an on-the-fly reaction. You would still be reacting to what the enemies are doing and properly planning and properly strategizing. You could still overextend. You could still run out of stamina. You could still misread a telegraph and get locked in the second half of an animation that can't be canceled. Animation cancels should just be able to be done up to a certain point. When it can't be done at all, it's not really enjoyable. It's like, it ends up feeling very like rigid and very rote. It's like, well, you almost have to play too safe. Does that make sense? You almost have to play too safe. It's like, well, I don't want to swing too many times. Sounds like a skill issue. No, it's not a skill issue. You're not actually having a conversation. You're just dealing in an internet trope. Like, you're not engaging with what we're saying. Derek says, it shouldn't snap you back into attack pose, but it would be faster than the full silly throwing barrels of hay through walls full body attack. Yeah, I think what you're almost talking about is like a roll away, right? Oh, you're joking, Dwayne. I was going to say, it's not a skill issue. Like, that's people's default response on these topics sometimes. It's like, rather than like internalize the criticism and see that it could actually make combat better, it's like, well, it just sounds like a skill issue. It's like, is it a skill issue if I can overcome it, but it just isn't enjoyable? I've played games that are like this, and it's just not enjoyable, where you're like, and usually they're not like big budget titles, like as it was stated, like Stellar Blade felt great, Tsushima felt great, but I've certainly played some like smaller budget titles where you end up sort of doing this like, get in, get your hits, get out, get back in, get your hits, get out. And it's because, well, I'm not going to take the risk. They're going to swing and I'm going to get hit. Like I basically can't animation cancel, so I'm never going to try to overextend a combo to see if I can get another hit in. You'd get cooked in any game that requires good reaction time if you just played the game like Dark Souls, for sure. Well, I don't like Souls games like Elden Ring, swing, run, dodge, boring. I actually think I watched a video from a guy who was showing just how much versatility there is in Elden Ring specifically, given that they give you the ability to jump. He was also showing, oh shoot, what did he call it? He was showing how there is an enemy aggro combo extender that happens. So like the closer you are to an enemy, they might extend into a different combo. If you move away, they might stop, they might reset. He was showing it with Margit, and it was actually really brilliant. And I think the thing he was showing is, and I was ignorant about this, the enemies in Elden Ring are far more reactive than like former FromSoft games, at least from this analysis. This was the impression that I got. In that it's not just this apply the formula of, okay, they just telegraphed a 1, 2, 3, right? Or a 1, 2, pause, 3, where they're going to go swing, swing, and swing. And you know that you go dodge, dodge, hold, dodge, punishment window, right? And you just apply that formula. You just learn the telegraphs and you just apply the formula. What this guy was observing with like Margit in particular is that's just not true. Your position in relation to the enemy will actually dictate. Sometimes they extend the combo. Sometimes they do a different second half of the combo, depending on your position and what you're doing. And so he was just showing how you can play in a very aggressive way. Essentially what he was doing is he was countering the claim of one of the bigger critics of like the FromSoft games, Joseph Anderson. I don't want to misrepresent Joseph Anderson, but the video is basically saying that Joseph Anderson talks about how Elden Ring can be frustrating or boring because you have to play very passively. And I remember thinking the same thing because I was trying to play the game like I just want to come in here with my weapon, roll on the ground to mitigate damage, and, wait for those telegraphs, wait for those really, really safe times to punish. And I can't do that because the enemies were very reactionary. The enemies would put stuff on the ground, right? And I remember saying similar things like, I feel like I have to play super passive. I feel like that's kind of I feel like the enemy's constantly making me push away, like constantly making me get away. This guy really opened my eyes. He was like, well, actually, when you enter in these fights, Margaret in particular, you can play aggressive. You can take risks and learn. There are these miniature windows where you can get like a little hit in and then get out of the way and get another little hit in. Like you can sprinkle punishment throughout the fight instead of waiting for those big punishment windows. If you're always waiting for the big punishment windows, you're always going to feel as if I have to play passive. This is so boring. Because there are fights in Elden Ring where that was one of my primary gripes, was I was like, I don't feel like I'm a part of the fight. I feel like I'm just watching the enemy do a bunch of stuff and like, oh, and now it's my turn to go hit. Okay, now we got to do it all over again. And this guy was very, very informative in how that is such a wrong observation about so many of the fights. Because you can really press against what the enemy's doing and when the enemy's doing it to create your own windows and to increase damage per second. He was also talking about posture, and I experienced this in my no summons sword and shield run in Elden Ring, because I had people saying, you can't fight the boss this way, and then I broke his posture and beat him on like my 7th try, and I was like, say again, tell me again how I can't play this guy this way. And this guy demonstrated how so many people ignore the posture bar because they can't see it, so they don't like it. Well, the posture bar is heavily related to aggression, because basically how the posture bar works in Elden Ring, it's this unseen bar where the more you chisel it down, the more you're going to get close to that sound, that bing sound that's like super rewarding. But the minute you let up, and maybe you go away to heal, and maybe you go back into a neutral for too long, that posture bar starts filling up again, but you can't see it. So really the posture bar is all about just how much can I keep up the damage and the heavy hits and the jumping hits and da-da-da-da-da-da. How high can I get it? How fast can I get it? Ding! And then they go down. Posture breaking is meta. Posture breaking is an enormous aspect of Elden Ring that gets missed out on when people play hyper passive, hyper safe. Oh, I only want to wait for those perfect, punishment windows. And this guy was great about pointing that out. And I do think a lot of the times when people went into Elden Ring, they wanted to play it like Dark Souls, and that's why they were frustrated. You have all these tools. You have summons. You have spells, right? You have the jump attack. You have this posture bar, and people don't engage with it. What they want to do is they want to go roll, punishment window, roll, punishment window. And it's like, yeah, that's been the formula for a lot of the fights up to now. But now there's so much more that you can do. And if you do that and you limit yourself to that, you're just not going to have a very good time. Millennia was a prime example of what you're describing. Yeah, many people thought that she had undodgeable attacks. My first time in there, I thought the one attack was undodgeable. I'm like, I don't even understand what I'm supposed to do, right? And then people were like, well, no, you got to run. You got to create space. There's timing, blah, 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 blah. And I think, in general, the biggest thing with these games that I'm learning is so much about those games is not about what you want to do. It's about what you're willing to do. It really comes down to that. It's not about what you want to do. What are you willing to do? Are you willing to maybe be a little bit more agile and change your build and use something that you weren't using and try something different? No? Okay. Same thing applies. If you're not willing to do that, then you better be willing to have the fight be harder and have the fight take longer. Because I'm the stubborn donkey in those games. I'm like, no, I don't want to change my build. I don't want to change my strat. I want to go in here and do this. I want to use this weapon. I want to use this thing. And the game's like, that's fine. You are now on the spectrum of what you want to do is very heavy on the scale. And what that's going to do is it's really going to say, well, you better be willing for the fight to maybe be harder. The fight might take a little bit longer. you might be missing out on huge opportunities for damage because you're not doing anything to the posture bar. You might be missing out on huge opportunities for damage because you're never getting little chip hits in. You're just always waiting for big punishment windows, right? So I have watched a ton of these videos lately as a way to fill my brain with thoughts as I'm reviewing Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. I wanted to be like, okay, how do people think and talk about these games who are completely different than me? Because I am very much like, Sekiro's a work of art. I don't ever really want to play many of these games ever again because they really frustrate me. Can I change my thinking? Can I change my outlook? Can I change my approach to these types of games? Because they are very popular and they come out all the time. So a lot of the commentary about, Elden Ring and Dark Souls that I've been watching recently, what's funny is I would have watched videos and criticisms from guys like Joseph Anderson and been like, yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. And now I'm like, I don't think I agree. I think these other guys have made more compelling arguments. I do. I think these other guys that have pushed back in defense of, Elden Ring and Souls games, I think they've made compelling arguments. And the thing is they've made arguments that ordinarily I would have been the one on the other side of what they're sort of critiquing. Sekiro's top tier, it's a dance. I'm watching a video right now, and I'm considering doing a show where the entirety of the show is me reacting to the video. I'm just batting this around in my mind because you guys have expressed a desire to see me react to content. My challenge with it is I want it to be done in a tasteful way. I want it to be content that's a couple of days old minimum. And I actually gravitate towards longer videos, but then if I react to a longer video, it's going to be like an hour. And I thought, well, what if that's the show? Anyways, again, I'm just batting ideas around in my brain. The only type of content we've gotten consistent requests for is reaction. The video that I was watching, and this is about how far I am in the video, is called Sekiro Has PTSD. And there's about 10 minutes left in the video. And I think this video has, at one of the most deepest levels ever, has explained to me why I love that game. And I never picked up on it. I never really knew it was there. And yet, I think the whole time, that's why that game is so important to me. And that's why it spoke to me. And that's why when I beat it, it's like a pretty pivotal moment in my history as a content creator and as a gamer. And I thought, I really want to react to this. And I really want to talk through this as well as my experience and my life. And so I'm continuing to think through that, about how I want to do that and how we would think that would kind of land on the channel, because that would essentially be the show, because that's a 35-minute video. My reaction and conversation to that with you guys would probably end up being like an hour to an hour and a half, which I think in a live environment as a VOD is great. Uploading that, probably not. I don't know. I mean, we can obviously talk through that. We can talk through content strategy. Creature probably has his own ideas and his own input here. But this is just stuff I'm kicking around in my brain, because I really have felt like listening to these videos and listening to what a lot of these guys have been saying about these games, it's having a very profound impact on the way that I view gaming and the way that I view content. And maybe we're close to some of the type of content I've wanted to make for a very long time, and this could be maybe one of the catalysts for doing it. Like this video, I couldn't believe it. I was listening to a guy. This is who turned me on to the video. I was listening to a guy. He was breaking down a dramatic thing going. Lupine is who I was listening to. This handsome man with a mustache here. And thank you to Lupine. He'll probably never see this. But this is his second channel. But thank you to Lupine for the content he made here about a situation with, content and criticism. And his video that I was watching was this one. And so he actually only has... I thought he was some big creator based on, I was just listening to his video. I did not realize, I thought he had like 100,000 subs or something. His content was so good. His argumentation was so good. 100,000 views on the video. Really appreciate this guy and the way he handled the situation and kind of responding to some things. And he turned me on to that Sekiro has PTSD video. So he does 40K lore, right? Lupine does? I actually don't know. I think he deserves way more subs than he has. I think his video about that situation is 3 months old. It looks like he maybe primarily streams. He has 2,000 followers on Purple. So yeah, isn't that insane? So much going on in my brain right now. I thought he was a big creator purely based on the way on the quality of his content. I was like, this has got to. I never looked at the sub count. I just clicked on the video and was listening to it this morning, and I was like, this guy's got to be some big creator. He's got to be some big established creator. You know what I mean? His content was just so good. I feel like he should have a 100K channel. I don't know. Maybe it's my proclivity for argumentation and breaking down arguments that really made me think highly of his content and its structure. These enemies have core sets of moves. They rotate. If you're only waiting for such, then it'll feel stale instead of engaging in the fight more actively than passively. Yes. And this reminds me of a very, very transformative moment in Sekiro, which this is sort of the unique experience that you get as a streamer where you're not playing by yourself. And I was playing Sekiro, and I was playing against Madame Butterfly. And there was somebody in the chat that was trying to explain this to me, and they either weren't phrasing it correctly or they were using too many words. Because streamer brain is like, I want to get back in there, I want to fight, I'm going to quickly look at chat, and I'm going to quickly get back to it. It's really hard to get out of gear, when you're fighting. I need to get out of gear, and let's just really read chat. Let's spend some time talking here. Let me read. Okay. That's not going to happen. Typically, the streamer's just going to forward on the joystick, run back in to fight again, and maybe grab a nugget from chat. So it's just one of those situations where somebody was trying to explain this to me, and they weren't doing it in a way that was landing. I looked at chat, and someone said, "Hit her till she deflects," and it was like a light bulb went off. It was the moment where Neo stands up and can see the Matrix. It was like I suddenly saw an aspect of the game that I wasn't seeing. That sentence gave me new eyes in the moment. I was like, oh my gosh. And from that point on, the fight felt different. The game felt different. And the rest is history. The rest is history. Who are you talking to, Zubair? Ice Cream Gaming? I don't even see them in chat. Where are they? Why can't I see their comments? Who are you talking to, Zubair? Did your phone autocorrect to Ice Cream? I literally don't see him. Oh, Ice Queen. I was like, what? Who are you talking about? Is it universally agreed that Neo has better combat than Dark Souls? I love both. Your question supposes something that I don't think is possible. Is it universally agreed that this game has better combat? No, you're not going to get universal agreement on that. You will not. No way. Oh, you call her Ice Cream. Okay. There is so much there, Zubair. There's food jokes. There's innuendo jokes. That is, that's a shooting gallery for jokes. It just really is. You can just take your pick. And there's so many jokes to be made here. I think he means common knowledge. I don't think you're ever going to have a game like that where you're going to have this sort of sense of, well, yeah, everybody agrees that this has better combat or whatever. I don't know what this game is, but geesh. What, mostly negative 16,000. June 14th, it just came on. Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. I've never heard of that. I don't know what that is. Don't you slander ice cream. I'm not going to slander ice cream. Guys, let's hit that like button. Let's try to get to 300 likes. Let's have a big like day. The news has slowed down a little bit, but that's a great opportunity for you guys. You can bring things to the show to talk about. You can article, a tweet, a video, anything that you kind of want to bring up and talk about. When the news is slow, we have an opportunity to sort of do our own thing. And this is one of those opportunities. If you guys have submitted questions, I'm going to pull up the question queue right now. There's actually only 2 questions in the question queue. So feel free to submit questions with the !Q command or !question. You just type that first, then put a space, then your question. I'm looking at the feeds right now, and it looks about like what I expected. There is not a whole lot going on. We're in that sort of valley between summer showcase season and like Gamescom and Tokyo Game Show. So we get a little bit of a slump in this time, which gives us the opportunity to kind of talk about different things that we want to talk about. Yeah. Surprise Donkey Kong controller for Nintendo Switch goes up for pre-orders today. Oh, they have a controller? Huh. Why does the missus not join you in the AM stream? Because we have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old that she takes care of, and also we homeschool. So they're going and doing various types of things, you know, libraries. They also do some like sort of like ministry-oriented things. You know, they've got some older folks, and like we help. Well, I don't. I'm never there, but there's like an older blind woman that they help. Like they're doing all sorts of things throughout the day that are keeping them pretty busy. So, school being the first, and then everything else. The Wu Chang embargo ends on Wednesday. As soon as you roll over into Wednesday of next week, the 23rd, the embargo drops. I am planning on having at least, I think we've got 2 videos we're going to try to do. I will not be able to roll credits on it. I simply don't have that kind of time. I have been very committed to that game and giving it as much of my time as I possibly can. I'm closing in on 20 hours. I think I'm at like 17 or 18 hours right now. I'm about 20% is what it's telling me through, but that's not in relation to how long the game is. They have said publicly that it's about 40 to 50 hours. So I don't think just because I'm close to 20 hours that I'm halfway, because different people play different ways. So we will be attempting to do 2 videos. It will not be like a full rolled credits review. That's not really what I do anyway. Like, here's how this system works. Here's how that system works. Here's what I think. I'm going to try to take you on a bit of a journey and a story that should be very informative and help you make a decision. Shout out to parents who homeschool. Shout out to parents who parent. Whether you homeschool or public school, you're doing your best. Well, I hope you're doing your best. You better be doing your best. Your kids deserve your best. But homeschool or public, whatever you can manage. So, True SSJ Havoc with a question says, which series is bigger, Mario or Pokemon? I think Pokemon, but I see people say Mario in chat. I don't think Mario is bigger than Pokemon. Not anymore. No. I think historically speaking, you would say that Mario is probably more iconic and probably more recognized, right? Like, you could probably show a grandma in her 90s Mario, and she would know who Mario is. It's a dice roll with, like, Pikachu. She'd be like, is that a hamster? Like, You know what I mean? I think Mario is probably more generationally recognized. Like, even like I said, like older folks would, you could like go to like a nursing home and like poll 100 folks, and you'd probably have a greater ratio of them recognizing Mario. But I think Pokemon is far more popular globally, far more, from the card games to the video games. So I think Mario just has a longer tail of generational awareness. Like, even non-gamers know who Mario is, right? So, not all, I'm not saying all grandmothers. I'm just saying if you went to, like, if you polled, like, 100 grandmothers with, like, a picture, I'm saying a greater percentage would probably recognize Mario. Some of them would know what a Pokemon is. They would know who Pikachu is. But I think a greater percentage would know who Mario is. Yeah, I saw the Ghost of Yotei popcorn bucket, Dylan. Thank you for the DM. So, but globally, sales, money, yeah, Mario's older and been around longer, so he has that advantage, right? Pokemon is just massive. I mean, just absolutely massive. So, they're seeking an actress with a TV-centric resume akin to Supergirl's Millie Alcock. I'm telling you, get the girl who plays Bix. They could really, really turn the DCU around. So, Jamal with a question here says, what old game do you think you could tell a friend about and it would still be fun today? For me, it would be an old puzzle platformer like Limbo or Little Nightmares. You kind of have to define what you mean by old game here, because I think, like, okay, like, old game, I would say that's still fun today. Like Ori 1, I think is magnificent, but I don't know if anybody would classify that as old. You go back beyond that, and I think of games like Borderlands 1, but then with Borderlands around the corner, I'm just kind of like, yeah. Again, will it age well? Thank you, Mike on a mic with a gifted member. He bumps the line to 713. We're pushing for a big one this week. What do you guys want? If we hit 1,000, I was going to do the second album. I feel like maybe the novelty of that's wearing off, which is fine. We always try to come up with new incentives and new fun things to do on a Friday night, or even on the weekend. And let us know. A 5 spot from Mike on a mic says, what's good, everybody? Thank you so much, Mike on a mic. Appreciate you. Okay. CNC red alert. Internet go out again? What? No. Is something happening? Edge of Fate is the worst performing expansion in the MMO's history, and add Marathon being on death's door. It seems Sony's takeover is more imminent. Oh, for sure. No worries was my internet. I was like, well, you know, we're having a slower day, but that's typical, I think, of Fridays, especially when the news is slow. I was like, please tell me that, like, my internet's not been acting up this whole time. It seems fine on my end. Command and Conquer. Alono community game night. We can totally do a community game night. If there's a game you guys want to play, if you would prefer to do that, then just you guys just need to start to campaign a little bit for what you guys want to do. Like, turn it into your thing. Be like, hey, this is what I think we should do. Right? Zinthos, let me see if it got your question. It did not get your question, so try again. Yeah, Madam will be here tonight. Yes. We should make a funny improv song on stream. We could do that. I have 3 versions of a song right now, and I can't pick the one that I like. I still owe you guys Date Everything. I do. I actually do. We have to pick a night to do that. Campaign for the Andor stream. Let's all make a song together. Community game night. Yeah, you guys have got some good ideas for sure. What the heck? Nightbit. Yeah, try again. I don't know why it did that. Anytime you guys go to submit a question, I would recommend just like selecting all and copying just in case it doesn't get grabbed. Sometimes like you'll submit the question at the exact same time as another person as well, and it'll like glitch out and only grab one. Because Nightbot is sending your question to a spreadsheet basically. And so only one spreadsheet can take that cell. And so if somebody does it at the same time as you, Nightbot's going to grab them both and only one will survive. Play Redemption 2 game night with Madam. Redemption 2? Are you mean Red Dead Redemption 2? I don't think that would work. GTA Online community night? Yeah, I also don't think that would work. It's got to be something very easy that we can do. Like a Fall Guys, like a rematch soccer game, like a Fortnite, like a Jackbox, something like that. Like, yeah, Mario Kart's really easy. Yeah. Can we do Mario Kart again? Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. If you guys have all these things you want to do, you just got to let me know. I'm very open to that kind of stuff on a Friday night. As long as it's not like make Lono play something frustrating. You know what I mean? Golf with friends. That's a good community game night for sure. No way we're going to watch Andor without finishing episode 6 of our past Star Wars streams. No, we're not going to watch Andor. We were just going to discuss it. We were going to remove the moratorium on spoilers and just go in and talk. There's a game called Mashed. It's pretty old. Used to play it with 4 players on 2 controllers. Good old fun. You enjoyed Fall Guys night? Rematch, says Pathalon. Okay, I tell you what, you guys, let me look here. Let me look here. I can only justify we can completely pivot a Friday night to that. Like you guys watching us play Donkey Kong, okay, that's fun, but okay, we can completely pivot. You guys go crazy and hit that, and we'll just do it. Like unlocking Friday night, it's very chill for us just to sit here and have drinks and laughs. You guys go wild. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a community game night. Pick a game, let's go. You guys could probably just show up and vote. We could be like, here are the various things we could do. We could also split the night into a couple of games. Like we could say, these were the 4 games people voted on. These were the 2 with the most votes. We're going to do both. We'll do a couple hours of this and then a couple hours of that, right? Among Us doesn't work. Among Us never works. It turns into kill streamer. So... Well, get to work, boys. Helldivers, yeah, Helldivers 2. That was fun the couple times we did that. Got a question in here from Stone Spire. Says, will you be playing the new Mafia game for us in August? Yes, I will. I am actually very interested in that game. I think it looks like a potential wild card sleeper in the conversation about Game of the Year. So... I am definitely going to be checking that one out. Yes, I will. Yes. And right now, guys, we're basically just doing completely open Q&A because the gaming news kind of slowed down on us and there is not much to talk about, which gives you a great opportunity. You can basically just drive the show with questions. It kind of becomes your show, which is a great value. It's like you're here, you're members. That's how you submit questions. That's a great reason to become a member. Just, if you feel like helping us with our goal, if you feel like getting involved, click join and pick Member Plus. Yeah, Helldivers 2 doesn't let a whole lot of people play. So, Lolling Buddha, thank you so much with 43 months, getting us a little bit closer. You guys go buck wild crazy and hit that big, huge stretch goal. We'll do it, that 1,000 a week is like, it seems insane, but we've done it so many weeks. It's so possible. It's actually very easy now with primes on purple, that renewals count, upgrades count, gifteds count. Like, we count basically everything now. So it's very, very easy to hit that. Perfect Image says, what are your thoughts on the new CEO Ubisoft, and did you watch VGC video on the dev Ghost of Yotei? I don't know much of anything about that. I don't really care to talk about Ubisoft, if you want my honest opinion. I don't really care about what they're doing or what they're saying. I care about the games. I'm kind of trying to completely move away from let's talk about this CEO or that CEO or this business or that blah, blah, blah. I just want to talk games, you know. That aspect of gaming, I think, is one of the reasons I was getting I was getting almost very just irritable within the content because it's just not fun to talk about. What coffee do you recommend to your friends and family generally aside from your own? I wouldn't recommend coffee that wasn't my own. That'd be very weird. With your content going forward, Lono, is it better for you to do variety, or would you like to do a few games or to plant your flag, or is it not your thing anymore? So we are attempting to narrow what we talk about to a degree to the games that I'm excited about and the system where I spend most of my time. I'm not going to become a PlayStation channel or a this game channel, right? Like, I'm not going to become a Diablo or a Helldivers channel or think of a new future live service game. Like, let's say the Horizon MMO lands and it's incredible and our coverage is getting great. I'm not going to become like a Horizon MMO channel. At least I don't plan on doing that. I just don't think I have that mind anymore. I don't really play and think like that. But I'm also not going to become like a PlayStation channel. But I think we were avoiding topics and we were avoiding subjects because I didn't want that label. But generally speaking, whether it's PSSR updates, the Pro, the PlayStation 6, the first-party studios, a lot of what they've got going on genuinely excites me. And instead of being like gun-shy from talking about it because like I don't want to be labeled as something, it's like, well, no, this is what I'm excited about. What the frick do I care what people say or call me? Like, if you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to label me something because I'm excited about the future of PlayStation, I guess go ahead, you know? I'm also excited about the future of gaming in general. I'm also excited about, you know, my kids' future. I mean, I guess if you want to call people names or put them in categories because of what they're excited about, go ahead. I'm not going to concern myself with that. So if you start to see less and less coverage of like Xbox or industry stuff, that's why. I just want to move away from that. I don't enjoy it. It leads to really bad faith discussions. It leads to just me being irritated. I would rather be like, man, I think this game looks hot. And people are like, looks weak. I'm like, well, that's fine. I mean, you can think that. So I think that there's more of a magnetism there. I want to talk to people that are excited about gaming. I don't want to talk to people that think everything sucks and everything's an agenda and everything's lame. I don't really want to talk to those people, and I don't think they want to talk to me. So I think if we make the content fit into that funnel, it will be a very, very minor niche down. It'll be a niche down as far as like moving things off the table, being like, we don't really talk about that. I don't want to talk about some freaking Ubisoft CEO thing. I don't freaking care. I don't want to talk about, well, this guy said this thing's profitable. I don't care. I don't. Yotei made significant changes to the combat. They're not doing stances. They're doing weapons. That could be significant. That could actually lead to more dynamic emergent combat where you're sort of adapting on the fly, and that sounds really exciting and really empowering to player volition and player skill expression and player satisfaction. Let's talk about that. Yeah, Yotei looks like more of the same. I don't think so. I think we can run counter-narrative to some of that nonsense just by being excited and talking about things. So my dreams of us arguing about accounting are dead? Yeah, they're pretty much dead. I think that's where some of my irritableness came from. It's like, because I just don't care about those things, and I feel like we would waste so much time dealing with bad faith. And it's like, if somebody's going to come in and be like, Yotei's lame, Yotei's more of the same, Yotei's woke, it's easy to be like, okay, that's fine. You can't take away from my excitement with your own curmudgeon-y take. It's like, all right, fine, okay, cool. Like, see, because then we're dealing with opinion. Do you see? It's easier for me to be like, that's fine, because it's just their opinion. But when someone's like, oh, well, this is where the industry's going, it's like, there's a part of me that just gets completely activated by that because it's not opinion, and I want to eviscerate it because it's false. I don't really have a propensity to eviscerate opinions. It's like, okay, I think Tsushima's boring. No? Okay. Tsushima only sold 5 copies. Shut the frick up. Do you see the difference? It's like, I think it's an easier place for my brain to stay in a more just enjoyable place to be like, you're allowed to not like something. You're allowed to not be excited about something. I have an easier time making space for that. I can't make space for falsehood. And I feel like a lot of those topics invite falsehood. Does that make sense? Like categorically, it's like the way my brain works. And as I was watching that Sekiro has PTSD video this morning, I will say this, and my counselor has said this, I have levels of PTSD with respect to these things. I do. And I know none of these people care because that's what people like. They like to see car crash. They like to see anger. They like to see crash out. They like to tear people down. So they don't care. But that's one of the reasons why I think over the years it's been very easy to activate that part of me, and you get this vicious, visceral response. And it's like, well, yeah, you just triggered that guy. You just triggered a very fight or flight memory for him. Of course he reacted that way, right? I think a great way to avoid that is to not talk about stuff that promotes and invites falsehood, because I'm going to be vicious against falsehood. I don't have the ability to not do it. It's like you can train your dog as best you can. You can train your dog and make him the best dog ever, and you put him in his backyard, and if there's a rabbit in the yard, he's going to chase it. You can't take that out of him. Now, like a highly trained dog, maybe, canine unit, sure. But in general, you get the analogy, right? He's going to chase a rabbit. It's just part of his nature. And when we're talking about something and someone comes in and go, me, and they say something that we all know is in bad faith, we all know it's false, we all know it's a misrepresentation of something, I'm that dog and that's a rabbit and I'm just going to chase it. And then all of a sudden people are like, well, he's getting one guide and he's being too harsh and it's such a vibe kill. And it's like, I don't want to do that anymore. But if I say, oh, dude, I'm really excited about Tsushima, I can't wait, and someone's like, I think it looks boring, I think it looks more of the same, I can be like, okay, can you explain to me why you think that? I don't think that. Here's why I don't think that. Their opinion can't be wrong, so it's not nearly as activating. It's just like, yeah, that's fine. Okay. Like when the guy said he thought this year was weak, I just kind of laughed and then was like, well, can you explain to me why? Now, he ended up showing that he was just here to kind of troll. But it was easier for me to be like, wait, what? What do you mean? And I just asked him questions. And you notice that a lot of the times that sort of forced negativity and forced pessimism is very, very flimsy and shallow. A couple of questions, and it's like the whole thing falls apart. It's like, well, I like games and these games, and this is what I typically play. And it's like games that came out 10 years ago. And it's like, well, why in the world are you even talking about gaming right now if you haven't liked a game for 10 years, right? So, I'm looking at your beans. What do you recommend for a starter? I see best of both, the one or something else. For the record, I love medium dark blends. Then just get the dark roast. If you love medium and dark blends, you probably will not like the light roast. You probably will not like the meat. You might like the medium roast, the Frickmas. I would do like the Frickmas and the dark roast. I think the dark roast is going to hit you right where you like it, because it's not a very dark. It's more of a medium dark. So I think you're probably gonna love the dark roast. So we've not been super forthright with this change. I'm not like, because there's not much to say. We didn't make like a concrete decision like, oh, I'm a Diablo streamer now. Like that would be a very obvious shift and change, and we would have to speak to it. This is just more of a removing things from the frame. Like, we're just not talking about that. I don't want to talk about that, Have the comments. on Echo's gameplay videos are some of the woke DEI girl boss trash, or just explicitly saying they don't want to play it because it's a woman with dark skin. And I think right now, Gavin, the best thing to do is just let those people do that. Let them. That's fine. Let them. Their power is waning and flimsy. I mean, here's what happened. Some really bad games flopped. They also happened to have some pretty easy dog whistles that could be blown against them, right? But did that work with Spider-Man 2? Did it work with Horizon Forbidden West? Did it work with AC Shadows? No, it didn't. Commercially successful games where none of that worked. So, I would say just trust that good games will be just fine and bad games will do poorly. Let them do it. Let them scream, shout, seethe, mauled, all those things. Let them do all those things. Let them grift. Let them make false claims about emails that they got and inside. Just let them. Let them. They're gonna. Here's the thing. They by nature will choose bad targets because the analysis is shallow. They're just gonna keep choosing bad targets. Why? The analysis is shallow. Good games are going to keep coming out and do just fine. Like Yotei, as far as we can tell, it's going to crush it commercially. The reception, the viewership, that state of play is doing incredibly well. The general gaming public isn't in this. It's not in this lane. It isn't. It has such little power. The power is so exaggerated because there were some significant flops last year. Significant flops. Kill the Justice League, Concord, Veilguard. Okay? That gave them, and I told you guys this. I told you in January. I said it gave them an overinflated sense of confidence. They think they've got this massive power that they can wield, and they don't. They don't. Because they tried it with Split Fiction, failed. Tried it with AC Shadows, failed. Tried it with Monster Hunter Wilds, failed. Tried it with Kingdom Come Deliverance, failed. Tried it with Superman, failed. They have a legacy now, this year, of failure. It's a legacy that will continue. Because the analysis is shallow. They will never, and trust me on this, trust me. I've been doing this a long time. They can never have a good batting average because they're swinging at everything. Do you understand the analogy? It's like your analysis is so shallow, you will never have a good batting average because you're just swinging at everything. Girl, woke. Minority, woke. Oh, okay. Well, that analysis is so dadgum shallow. It's impossible. It's mathematically impossible for them to ever have a good batting average. So what you need to do is let them. Let them. It's like in the cartoon where the character spins really, really fast and eventually it starts to like dig a hole in the ground and they just start to sink. Just envision that in your mind. Just let them. Let them just spin and scream and yell. Just everything is woke. And then eventually they'll just sink below the tide line because the meta will get wrung out like a rag and something else will be what everybody fixates on. Something else will be what takes over. And they'll have these very lopsided channels. They'll have these very lopsided user bases of people that are like, well, you're now talking about this, or you're now moving towards this, you're now doing this. And it will be, I think, a form of evolutionary natural selection, survival of the fittest. People with better analysis, better communities, more solvent business strategies will survive in the content space. People that meta chase, like their thumbnails all look the same, their talking points are all the same, brother, that stuff always burns out. It's a bottle rocket. It's not built to last. It just isn't. So just let them. You've got to see it that way. If you zoom all the way out on this and you really think about what's going on, okay, If you really think about what's going on, it simply cannot survive. Gaming is entering into a very, very good era. You can't keep saying gaming sucks. You can't keep saying AAA gaming is trash. You can't keep calling everything woke, because eventually people are going to realize that that is not the case. One of the best antidotes for misery and anger is mirth, is joy, is happiness. All it's going to take is for every time a game comes out, portions of the public, portions of these audiences, right, are going to play a good game. You know what that's going to do? That's going to make that content taste pretty sour. Do you see? They're gonna go and have a really good experience in a good game, and it's gonna be like, yeah, I don't know if I really believe this anymore. The reason that it works is because if people are miserable and unhappy, that type of content is cathartic for them, because it sort of stokes the fire of anger. It gives them something to sort of hurl their rage at, and it can feel very empowering and very cathartic. Okay, they play a good game, they play a couple good games, they have a couple good experiences. And I'm telling you what, that content will just, it won't taste good anymore. They'll be like, you're kind of just whining and complaining. You're kind of just presuming the negative. You're kind of just doing sweeping reductionist statements about the entire industry, or like every AAA game, or like every single company is doing the same thing. And that just really isn't true. You know? So, I trust the process. I do. We don't chase those metas here. We don't chase those trends here. I don't do, look at my thumbs. You would never be able to argue that we do like rage bait. When people, I've had people say that, like, oh, this is clickbait or this is rage bait. I'm like, gosh, our thumbs are very, very boring. They might be too boring sometimes. They might be too boring and too safe and flaccid and like middle of the road, right? Maybe we're a little too cautious sometimes with our thumbs and titles. Pathlon Phoenix with a $10 super chat. Hey Lono, how long does it take for a hoodie and cap to arrive? I'm trying to wear them in this Miami heat. We don't control that, but I believe your stuff shipped. Hey, somebody ordered some coffee. My man Zuby ordering his dark roast. What's the company? I can't remember the company that we use. We almost, the merch and the coffee sales are so much slower than they used to be. I can't remember the company. I can't. I think I got an email though saying that the stuff had shipped like a couple of days ago. I think. Thank you, Cream Pie Samurai, as well, for renewing your subscription over there on Purple. And right now, stretch goals. Every stretch goal is a song, but you guys were wanting to do a community game night, so I could justify a Saturday night. If we hit 1,000, and we would just play a couple of the games that you guys vote on. I feel like more people can tune in on Saturday nights, but I can't justify that with just, the 500. The 500 is for Friday night. Saturday night's like our night. I'm willing to boot up and do community game nights if we do that, if we hit 1,000 members on a week. Ernest Jansen with a $10 super chat. Looks like Reforge Coffee does not come north of the border, if I'm mistaken. So here's a little money for the weekend. Enjoy your content so far. Keep it up. Thank you so much for that super chat tip. That's very generous. And yes, I am sorry. Shipping is so absurd outside of the U.S. We don't ship outside the U.S. It costs you more money than the cost of the coffee. It's ridiculous. And I just don't feel like that's the way to do it. If you want to support me, it makes, I think, way more sense to just super chat or gift members. You could spend half of what you'd spend on the coffee, and I feel like it's just a better way of supporting. Spending $70, $50 to get a couple of bags or a single bag of coffee, you end up spending more on shipping. It's just ridiculous. Like, the coffee is good, but I don't think you should be spending more on shipping than the coffee itself. I feel like there's like a latent injustice or foolishness there that just doesn't seem like a wise way to conduct business. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good to be like, oh wow, you really wanted to support me and you just had to spend an exorbitant amount of money on shipping. Like, that feels really foolish, especially considering with gifted members, you can bless somebody else. They get into more content. They get emotes and a badge. They get access to the Discord. That kind of like permeates through the DNA of what we do instead of like giving $67 to the post office. Does that make sense? I used to be part of that crowd, and for one, don't believe the woke idea will die, as there are obviously people out there against the narratives. I don't think in gaming it'll ever have much of a foothold. Mick D09, thanks so much for gifting a memory. He says, come on, boys, let's rally. He says, let's rally. We're trying to unlock a completely extra stream. I think that's fair if 500 unlocks Friday, another Friday unlocks Saturday. I think that's fair. I got a question here from JC that says, Lona, did you hear about SkillUp's new gaming website? I have not heard about this. I saw he had a video with news. I'm assuming that's the one, that's what you're talking about. So I'll enjoy the coffee vicariously through my American comrades. All good. Yeah, I am sorry about that. There's just so much that's changed in the world with shipping. It really is. It's really made doing things like that very, very difficult. So... question from Zinthos. Since both the player and the enemy can be disarmed in Yotei, does that mean there's hand-to-hand combat? Not sure if the devs have spoken to this. The example they gave in the interview, I thought the same thing, Zinthos. I was like, wait. Does that mean that you can literally have no weapons if you get disarmed that much? Like, you're just running around with, like, your hands out? Or do you have always something default? Like, is the katana at least, like, default always there? I don't know how they're going to handle that. That's going to be interesting. He's launching a website called This Week in Gaming that has no ads and is crowdfunded. I say more power to him. I have really tried and failed to cast that vision here. I really have failed to cast that vision. That one of the common complaints people have is that our gaming press is beholden to the publishers and beholden to the studios, and you can't trust some of what they say. You can't trust some of their takes. There's very, very severe levels of bias and slant, and even, I would say, misrepresentation. You know, we've had outlets like IGN just flat out misquote things and lie. Which I think is just egregious. We've had institutions commit journalistic malpractice, not fully investigating things, choosing a side. You know, there's been a lot of that. I've really tried to cast that vision that you should support VGC and Andy Robinson and Insider Gaming, and I've tried to cast that vision for here. You give us an insane amount of power when you support a channel directly. It's like, well, now I don't have to worry about chasing a trend or chasing a meta, or I got to do a bunch of sponsored deals. Do you know what I mean? Just the YouTube culture is just very, very resistant to that. I've been streaming on YouTube for 5 years. And for 3 of those years, we have tried to cast and capture an idea that for $6 a month, you support the channel directly. It enables me to do this full time, really frees me up. And people just don't. They're just like, no. And I've even said this about Insider Gaming and VGC recently, and I'll say it about SkillUp. I think that's a great way for the gaming community to recapture some level of control and independence. Because this is why I think Colin Moriarty is able to do and say what he does, because he's beholden to the audience. He's supported by the audience. He doesn't have to worry about playing nice with the publisher. He doesn't have to worry about playing nice with developers or anybody. And I think that, and again, I think that maybe YouTube is a bad place to try to forge this idea. Like, what SkillUp's doing is going to be like in its own place, and what Colin does is on Patreon. it's possible I'm just trying to shove a round peg in a square hole on YouTube, and YouTube has just been around for far too long, and people are like, I'm not paying for content. I'll just go watch something for free, which at some level I completely respect. Like, that's a consumer level decision of value. You're like, I can get a lot of value for literally nothing. I can leave here, I can go watch other content, blah, 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 blah. Audience capture is just as dangerous. I mean, yes and no, Eugene. Like, I would imagine, like, let's just say that 10,000 people decide to support what SkillUp's doing, right? Do you really think at that scale he's going to be afraid to say things that, like, this might upset people? Like, obviously, if he gets 10,000 people that subscribe to him and they're all, like, rabid Nintendo fans for whatever reason, he might be scared to say negative things about Nintendo. But I would imagine somebody with the diverse coverage that Ralph has been offering for all these years, the people that buy into what he's doing and support it, I don't think are going to put him in an audience capture scenario. Does that make sense? Oh, is my daughter's song playing? Yeah, Dying for a Phone is playing. These songs will be available very soon on a YouTube channel somewhere. We're working on it. He said he only needs 1% of his subscribers to support the website for it to be able to run. Yeah, I mean, that's basically the ratio that we have. We have 55,000 subscribers, and 1% of my subscriber base supports the channel directly. We have about 550 people who support the channel directly. The other 2,000 to 3,000 members are gifted every month. So I would say the thing that we've tried to think about, and you guys can always offer input here, is we've had around 500 people supporting the channel directly from about 30,000 subs to now. So we've almost doubled the channel size, and the amount of people paying to support the channel directly has not moved. And I think it's a cultural thing. I think YouTube as a culture is they're just not about that. And I respect that. I actually respect the idea that people are like, no, you're going to really have to do something to get me to say, here's $6 a month. I respect that. I actually respect people who think in the realm of, you're going to have to really drive value for conversion, because I think that actually in turn makes for a better product. So as a YouTuber, I'm always thinking, as a creator, I'm always thinking, I've got to increase the value. I've got to increase the value. The show is never stagnant. The show is never staying still. It's always, I'm always attempting to, okay, I got disconnected from chat and had a little panic attack. I was like, oh no, my internet's going down again. So, I think that puts the impetus on me, and we just haven't been able to unlock that key. I mean, this is a Friday, and gaming news is slow, so we can do like a housekeeping discussion here. I even thought about this last night, and I was talking about it with Creature and just thinking through the fact that morning coffee was for everybody, and Green Room is for paying members only. With the size of Ralph's audience, 1% would be an absolute killer. Oh, I know. So we were talking about this last night, and I said the only piece of content we have gotten consistent requests for is reaction-style content. And I said, I feel like Green Room is a very poor converter because it's primarily content that only appeals to veteran folks, right? If we're trying to get new people, to become a member to this channel, I don't think Green Room is a very good offer, because it only really is a value offer to folks who have been around for a really long time. So if you've been around for a couple of months, you're going to be like, I don't really care about the Green Room. I don't really care to listen to you talk to your producer about the next day's shows. But the one piece of content we've gotten consistent requests for is reaction content. And this is just an idea. We're not doing this. I just threw this out as an idea. And we can brainstorm. You guys can provide feedback right now. You're here right now, and you're probably some of the most loyal folks because you're here on a Friday when the news cycle's pretty dead. So that means you're very loyal. You've submitted questions. You're involved, right? So your input is helpful. Also, if you're here and you're newer and maybe you I haven't been around for very long, your input will be helpful. Because my thought process on this is, it's extremely difficult in this live environment with the flow that we've established and how we kind of do this thing. It's really difficult to be like, all right, let's just change gears, and now I'm going to watch a 20-minute video and react to it. But if I set the table and I say, hey guys, later today, I'm going to be reacting to this video. You guys kept asking me about it. I gave it a watch. I think I've got some good things to say. I want to have a discussion with you. We're going to do that later in a Reforge React segment, but that's for members only. From a perspective as a content creator, I think that's a far better, number one, I think it's a good value offer to everybody. I also think it's a better value offer to new folks who are going to be like, well, I don't want to miss that. Because it's something new every time. There's a chance every time that somebody might be like, well, I really want to hear what he has to say about that. Instead of green room, green room, green room, green room, green room. Just this static, it's the same note every day. Let's say someone's new and has no interest in my reaction to some Destiny video. But then a couple of weeks go by and I'm like, I'm going to react to this video about Sekiro. And they're like, well, I really want to hear what he has to say. Because that's a new thing. I've never heard him talk about Sekiro, and I'm a big fan of Sekiro. Instead of, it's been 2 weeks and he just talked about the green room again for the 27th time, and I have no interest in the green room. Like, if they're never interested in the green room, the offer never changes. Again, I just threw this out as an idea to just spitball because I just feel like I always come back to, it is on us. Maybe we're not offering something, maybe we're not doing something that really invokes the idea of like, well, I don't want to miss that. That sounds cool. That seems worth $6, you know. YouTube's been free for so long, people are just going to flat out reject paying for it. There's an element of truth to that like we're always going to be facing that dilemma of like, well, I was just here for 3 hours. I thought your show was great. I don't feel like paying for a reaction segment. I'm just going to go watch other content. I'm always competing with free. That's the hardest thing. That's the hardest price to compete with. Imagine trying to launch a battle royale and charging for it. You're competing with free. You're competing with Fortnite, with Apex, with Warzone. You're competing with free. Competing with free is extremely difficult. I don't want to lose green room. That's the dilemma we're facing. Some of the most loyal people are going to feel like, well, we really like that. We don't want to lose that. And I'm like, okay, what if I turn around in 2 years and we're in the same scenario? I got the same rough amount of people, 500 folks that just love green room and don't want to lose green room, and I've just had this, you know, flow of new folks coming and going, growing the channel, digging the show, but always kind of feeling like no one cares about that. No one wants to come and see that unless you're a long-standing person with history and rapport with me and rapport with Creature. You might feel like green room is like such a non-converter. It's like, right, and what Creature's saying is the other side of the coin. Trust me, I've thought about that too. You're charging for reaction content? I can watch reaction content anywhere on the platform. Why would I pay for it? It's the only content type that people have requested, and I was like, I don't think it fits with the vibe of the live show, because the live show is very much about like, we just sort of ebb and flow, questions, topics, pulling things up. For me to suddenly be like, all right, let's put a stop to all of that and let's watch this video. I don't feel like I like that. As the guy in the chair, that feels very inorganic. That feels very forced. That feels very halting. So, conversely, green room is the reason I ended up paying for my own membership, says Pac-Man on a Bike. Could be something like 9 to 12 daily content, 12 to 1 green room. Rest of the time is yours. And the time saved, make occasional appearances on other channels. Generally, that's how we're trying to structure the day, MASH, is from 9 to noon is public. 12 to 1 is either a second stream of gameplay or green room, and then we use the afternoon to do stuff for content, yeah. No. I was wiping and I missed what's going on. We dropping green room? No, we're not dropping green room. I'm just always doing analysis of like. Basically, the question is this: is the reason that people don't upgrade because this is just not how YouTube operates? Are we trying to do something that is a fool's errand, or are we offering something that people don't want? I think those are two fair questions to ask. Like, are we basically just doing, is this just a fool's errand? It's just not something that YouTube is conducive to. Or are we offering something that, like, somebody subbed to the channel for a month or so who's been here on a regular basis, are they going to be really into that? Intro, BS, talk, BS, Q&A, reactions, green room. It can work. We tweak it and give it the vibe that we want. Well, let me throw out another idea, because I almost did it today. If I would have had time, I might have done it. So my struggle with reaction content has always been the same. It ends up really long, right? It ends up really, really long. And so I think uploading like an hour-long reaction video seems like a bad idea. But given the way that we function and what people are drawn to, as an example, this Sekiro has PTSD video, right? Hey, Creature, Lona did a pickup line on me. It was good, though. I'm sorry that happened, Creature said. And I thought, what if that's just a show that we do? Instead of like randomly sitting here and for an hour or more reacting to a video. The video is like 35 minutes long. That means my reaction to it's going to be an hour or an hour and 20 minutes or an hour and a half. I'm either going to double or triple the length of the video, especially one that's that thoughtful and that deep. It's like it's 35 minutes long, right? What if that's just a show? We're just like, no, that's tomorrow's show. That's the show. Right? Or that's the second show. Maybe we do the talk show, maybe we do the discussion, maybe we do the Q&A, and maybe when it's time to pivot to reaction, it's like, no, we need this to be its own show, its own segment, its own thumbnail. So it hits the channel. It's a good piece of content, but it's not an hour and a half long upload. I question the wisdom of that, of being like, sitting here and reacting with you guys and having a good time and then uploading it later. It's like, no. Or sitting here and doing it, and it's like, it's at the tail end of a show when it's like, is that really adding value in like a 3 to 4 hour show where at the very end, all of a sudden we tack on this really long thing? I don't feel like that's a good idea. I feel like that's a bad idea, personally. Let's say something we have is hyper relevant, right? Let's say I find a video where a guy is talking about Yotei, and I think it's a fantastic take and a fantastic video. Rather than having that tacked on at the end of some talk show, because it would be relevant to today, but instead of tacking on at the end, I feel like it makes more sense to redirect, new stream, new thumb, new piece of content, and as soon as I'm done, that's it. It's a wrap. We go to green room. That's, to me, that's not a terrible idea, because that's long form. In long form. It's like live streams are long form. A fantastic take like Halo is better. I took what I said earlier and reworked it to make it more coherent and more spot on. But since we moved off that topic, I decided to save it for another time. What were we talking about? Just a suggestion, but stop banning everyone with a different opinion. Your channel might start growing again. We don't ban people with different opinions, so you're obviously clip farming for Twitter. I banned people in the last couple of days who were trolling and started insulting chat. The difficulty that people like you have with this environment is you think insulting chat or insulting me is an opinion, and that if you get banned for that, oh my, I have to run to Twitter and cry like a child, like a little baby. Maybe just come in and share opinions and not insults, and you would be able to hang out here. I had Lobo and Mash And I had an army of people in chat yesterday disagreeing with me about Halo passionately. Very passionately. We only ban people when they cross over into trollish, insulting behavior. Your lack of self-awareness and inability to see that insulting a streamer or their chat is not voicing an opinion, right? You're stuck in some extended adolescence where you can't see that is childish, disruptive, and unwanted. You're embodying being unwanted, and then when you're not wanted, you act like, well, they're an echo chamber and they ban people with different opinions. Like, do you honestly think I'd have hundreds upon hundreds and thousands upon thousands of people tuning in every day and debating me week in, week out if all we did was ban different opinions? The notion's ludicrous. It's just false summary slander from weirdo Twitter people that don't have anything better to do with their day. You know what I mean? I like that idea. You could also take those reactions and then repurpose them as uploads later on down the line. Well, I don't think we would do that. I think if it was its own segment, you know. Lobo says his patience is frustrating, honestly. Yeah, let me just explain to you the tension there. Do you know how many times, and listen, when you guys do this, by the way, it's super annoying. When you want to tell me how long I should talk to a troll or how long I should talk to somebody before I ban them. That's like the single most unwanted piece of feedback a content creator wants to hear. It's like, we've got to make that call sometimes to like engage with somebody to see if they're good faith, to see if they're actually going to be nice, and then they start acting the fool, and then we kick them, and you're like, I really wish you wouldn't talk to people like that for so long. It's like, well, what do you want me to do? As soon as somebody gets a little gruff, just kick them out? Like, we can't do that either. Like, some of you guys immediately hop on the comment section. You're like, I really think you talked to that guy for too long. It's like, what the frick do you want me to do? The minute somebody gets a little prickly, I just ban them? We can't do that. Come on. We got to give them a little bit of leeway to see, okay, is this guy a troll or is he in a bad mood? Did he just stub his toe? And did he have a bad day at work? Or is he being a jerk? Is he trying to disrupt what we're doing here? You got to give people some time. I really don't think I spend a disproportionate amount of time with people who are being trollish as of late. I think like we sense them very quickly and we're like, yeah, get this guy out of here. I only ask if you can bop someone if they're being blatantly offensive and if you've not interacted with them yet. So you mean if like they're going back and forth with chat, Sven, and I really haven't taken a notice of them? If you ignore them, they'll just spam chat. Right, and that's what Sven's talking about. Sometimes I don't give them any oxygen, and they'll just start going at the people in chat. And it's like, well, then it's like, okay, now I've got to get involved or I've got to say something. Like, just flat out ignoring them doesn't always work because then they'll start having a go at chat. And then that's even more disruptive. It's a delicate balance. You guys have just got to trust that Creature and I both make those calls. My mods make those calls as well on the fly of like, do we ban this person immediately or do we give them a second chance to like either course correct? Like what I did with the guy yesterday, I tried to help him course correct. I was like, it was the way you phrased your opinion. If you would have said it this way, I think people would have taken an interest into why you feel like the year is so weak. He didn't take the feedback and just kept being a dingbat. So we just walked him because it was like, you're just being disruptive now. We're trying to have a conversation and you're not engaging in conversation. So yeah, it's a delicate balance. You can be too strict, you can be too liberal, not politically. You can be too strict, you can be way too open and free. I try to kind of land in the middle where like I want people coming in and disagreeing. I'll take people that are being a little gruff and a little grumpy, you know. But you start calling me a name or chat a name and you won't let something go. We've had people that just won't let something go. And I know they're trolling when they do this. They'll apologize like 18 times. I'm like, bro, let it go. Yeah, I just really want to make sure you know that I am really sorry I did that. And it's like, you've apologized like 8 times. Shut the frick up. Like, they're usually trolling as well. What they're trying to do is they're trying to create an environment where they get banned for something that seems like they shouldn't be banned for it, so then they can run and claim, oh, that their echo chamber they banned for anything over there. Hyde says, 27 months, no green room VODs, and having to go to Purple to watch them, downgraded to member plus after 27 months. No green room. I'll probably just throw the Prime sub for Discord access and cancel. The no green room VODs definitely sucks, but for those people, the health of the channel is more important. Here's the thing. I cannot at all cater and lean the channel to folks that are in a situation where they're like, I really need to be able to watch Green Room 3 weeks later, a week later, 4 days later, okay? In the grand scheme of things, with 55,000 subs and trying to grow and trying to get more subs, that type of behavior and content engagement, I can't legislate to that. It's simply impossible. It's impossible. The number of you that were doing that compared to the damage it's doing to the channel, it's such a crappy situation. I don't have a choice. I can't let Green Room sit on the channel. I can't. It's YouTube's fault. They give me no control over the content. They give me no control over the content. They were showing Green Room after like 4 or 5 days to like 6,000 and 7,000 people, and only 500 people can watch it. I can't allow that. I tried to watch the content I missed this week due to work. No, I get it. I was put in an impossible situation. I went back and looked. So when we were unlisting Green Room and unlisting Morning Coffee so that it couldn't hit people's homepages, we saw an immediate impact. Live stream videos did better. Uploads did better. Everything performed better. Okay? We didn't like the way that felt because we were basically allowing non-members to watch the content. They just had to go to the playlist, and we didn't like the way that felt, and even members expressed they weren't too keen on that. So what we did was, I noticed a new checkbox. There was a checkbox on those videos that said, put in subscriber feeds and homepages, and I could uncheck it. And I thought, oh, I just need to uncheck this box, and it will fix our problem. So we said that we were going to do that, and then we were going to analyze the numbers and see, and we completely forgot to do that. So from the middle of March until now, that's what's been going on. That's why we got a ton of new subs during the showcase season, and then as soon as showcase season was over, we were just bleeding subs. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. We're not getting into spats. We're not getting in fights. The vibes have been good. The vibes have been chill. Members have been popping off. What is going on? And then I realized it's Morning Coffee and it's Green Room. We're doing 2 pieces of members content every single day and 1 live stream, sometimes an upload. And it's putting Morning Coffee and Green Room on the homepage of a new sub, and they're like, what the frick is this? I subbed to the guy's channel. He was co-streaming a showcase. He says he does talk shows, and now every day I'm getting thumbnails of content I can't watch. A guy yesterday that I trust came in yesterday, and he said that it was featured on his homepage numerous times. I have no control over that, and that's absolutely idiotic, brothers. That's so dumb. And I know that you don't care. You're like, I don't care about any of that. I want my content. Brother, I wish I had control over it. I wish I could say, don't show my members' content to any non-members. It's completely antithetical to what we do. Let me convert in the live environment. Let me tell people, here's the value. Here's what you're going to get. You want to be here. Consider becoming a member. Let me do it. You're never going to get somebody to convert by putting a piece of content on their homepage unless, of course, it was a bespoke piece of content with like a POV. I think Sekiro is the easiest game ever. People are like, huh? And it's members only. You might convert. You might. They might pay the money to see that video. But the way that we do it, it's completely counterproductive. They don't know what Green Room and Morning Coffee is, and it's the same thumbnail every day. Right? It's the same thumbnail every day. And they're like, I don't know what this is. And so what do? They unsub. we were getting most of our unsubs from channel page. You know what that means? They saw that video, they clicked channel page, they clicked to go to my channel, and they unsubbed. They're like, I don't know why this keeps hitting my feed, but this is freaking annoying. Do you want to know why I know they're doing that? Because that's what I would do. That's what I would do. If I sub to one of these guys, some of these guys I've subbed to recently, I subbed to Greg Glinstone and Jack Saint recently, right? If I opened up my homepage on YouTube and I kept getting I kept getting those guys' members only videos and I couldn't watch them, I would unsub. I would. I'd be like, I can't watch it. That's stupid. The solution, sadly, is one that we can't do, and we've asked for this for a long time, is if I could create a sub-channel and your membership crossed over to the sub-channel, I could just put all the content there. We would just do Green Room as a live stream on that channel. We would redirect, and we would go to like a Reforge members channel, right? And that's where all the membership content would live. That would be the perfect solution. I'd never have to delete anything. I'd never have to unlist anything. It could live there for forever. It'd be over there in its own little world, and the only people that would care about that channel are the members. I don't have the ability to do that. We would basically, and this would be absolutely terrible, we would have to start doing the Green Room on a separate channel, and then you'd have to be a member to that channel. So you'd have to basically double dip, which is completely counterproductive. It's completely counterproductive to do that, because then you don't have a membership in my main live streams, which means you don't have a badge. It means you don't have emotes. You see? It's like... Do you store it anywhere besides YouTube or Twitch, like on your PC? No. The past broadcasts are on Twitch. You can go watch them. They're not even behind a sub wall yet, because we can't do that yet on Twitch. We haven't unlocked that perk. You have to stream 90 days as a partner or an affiliate. I think some of it falls into the nature of live streaming. There's just some things you have to be present for. The worst part about this is the most loyal folks are the ones that, like, YouTube's forcing my hand. It's like, you're forcing my hand here. You're making me hurt. You're making me hurt the people that have been the most supporting of the content. I think you could build like a library that people could access, but we'd have to put it behind a paywall barrier. Do you see? We're just stuck in a rock and a hard place. It's like, I either just leave the content up in perpetuity and it just keeps killing my channel. And the reason it's killing my channel is because we do more members content than basically any other YouTuber. So YouTube's not going to legislate to a channel like mine. We are an oddball in the YouTube ecosystem. We are. And I'll tell you why. It's because we're trying to bring live stream Twitch, culture to YouTube for 5 years, because our hand was forced. And so we've had to create an entire value system around that, around members content. YouTube's not built for that. We are being proven that every day. I hit 50K subs, and it has been nothing but a bizarre fight for the last 7 months, and it's because of the members content. It's not only that, but it is a huge factor. As soon as we started unlisting the members content, it fixed a lot of our problems. We are right back where we were again because we stopped doing that. As soon as we deleted all those videos, we immediately saw some of our most recently uploaded stuff and some of our VODs get better treatment. It's like it was immediate. Why? Well, because now it can only show my publicly viewed content to my subs. So it's only going to show somebody my PlayStation video or my Helldivers video or my live streams. It can't show them a Green Room or a Morning Coffee because they're gone. They're gone. Do you see? It's like, that's the problem. It's like, YouTube's not built for this. YouTube is built for make a video, If it's on topic, if it's good, if it's structured well, good thumbnail, they'll throw it on a homepage. Interested people will click. We're breaking that entire thing by making content that they can't watch, that's static and has the same thumbnail every day. We're seeing names in chat after deleting those videos we weren't seeing before. Yeah. I did not get to play the Hell Is Us demo, no. I hate that we even have to talk about it because it's like we're not talking about games right now, and it's okay because the news cycle's slow. So this is a perfectly good time to do housekeeping. But this quite literally is a problem only in lack of power. If I had the power to push a button that said, do not show my members-only content to non-members, we would not have to have this discussion. You guys could just keep on keeping on. You could have green room until you're dead. But I don't have that control. For whatever reason, they just don't give us that level of control, and it is super frustrating. If I was actually hoping that I could make a playlist and I could control it at a playlist level, like, no, only this playlist is visible to members, but they don't give us that ability on playlists either. They don't. Like, if I could go to a playlist and say, hey, can I, let me edit this playlist and say only members. Well, then I could just fill it with unlisted videos. And if anybody went to the playlist, they wouldn't be able to see anything because the playlist would be members only. So when I go to a playlist, I can set it to public, unlisted, or private. So there's nothing we can do. It's like I don't have the level of control that I need. I would need to be able to make a playlist, set the playlist to only members, and then we would fill it with the videos unlisted, so nobody would have access to the videos. Now, obviously, somebody could go in, get the hyperlink, and share it with somebody, which is a problem because we have people who pay for memberships who are actively trying to harm me in the business. Like, they leak stuff from Discord, they leak clips from members' content, because that's what they want to do with their life. So that would be the other problem, is that people could still share the videos with the hyperlinks to the videos directly. If you put all the videos in the playlist, would it only show the playlist on people's feed? It would probably still show the playlist, maybe. I don't think it typically shows playlists on a homepage, though. It typically puts videos on a homepage. I'm sorry I missed this Blue Accent Gaming this morning, Lono. It's been a while since I climbed into chat. Got super busy with work, being a dad and a husband. Glad to see you. Pushing. Thanks so much, Blue Accent Gaming, with the gifted member renewal of 25 months. If you want to upgrade to Member Plus, out of gifted, you'll get more content. Thank you, B, for the VIP. Enjoy the content. Thank you for 23 months. I appreciate it, B. Is it 24 hours or 4 days? I simply cannot allow a green room to sit on the channel for more than 24 hours. I can't do it. Listen to me. Even that's harmful. It is. Even that's harmful. After 24 hours, a green room has 2,500 impressions. 2,500 impressions. That's 2,000 people that should not have been shown that video. If I wait another 24 hours, if I wait 48 hours, the video will have between 4,000 and 5,000 impressions. It just goes up every day. And that's just a bunch of people that are going to be motivated to unsub because they're like, why are you showing this to me? I can't watch it. It's just going to motivate them to unsub. Do you know what happened? You know what happened as soon as we did this? We stopped losing subs. We've been in a steady recovery. We did this 2 days ago, and it's already stopped it to a certain degree. It's already stopped it. How do other channels treat members' content? They don't do it that often. They do it like once a week. Double dipping. Thank you, CB. I have a question, gaming related. Do you think that game titles get thrown around too much? I've heard 6 people this week say Lost Soul Aside is a Souls-like, but the company says it's not. Because it's not. Why are people saying it's a Souls-like? It's clearly like an action-adventure game. I really, really like to get the Venom game, as he's one of my favorite characters. Do you see any chance of it coming to Xbox like Blade is? Well, Blade is being built by an Xbox-owned studio, so that's why Blade is coming to Xbox. If Venom is made and made by Insomniac, I highly doubt it would come to Xbox. They don't seem to be signaling that any of those pieces of property are coming to Xbox. Why not just delete them same day? Because I'm doing my absolute best to not just immediately take value away from people. You have to understand how frustrating this is. I really am not showing how frustrated I am. I want to blow my stack and scream and yell that we've been streaming on this dadgum platform for 5 years and they couldn't find their butt with their elbow if they tried. Like, it's like, boys, this isn't how you handle live streaming. This isn't how you handle members-only content. It's infuriating. It is absolutely infuriating how lost they are with how to handle live streams and how to handle members-only content. I don't know who's in charge. I don't know where the feedback's coming from, but it's infuriating. It's absolutely infuriating to try to curate something for 5 years and to have them actively, constantly working against what we're trying to do as they befuddle around and, oh, well, let's try this, let's try that. It is infuriating. It's not difficult. None of this is hard. It is so pedestrian, and they don't get it. They don't get it. Whether it's the injection of the ads, or the treatment of members' content, or live stream discoverability, they don't get it. They don't know how to do it. They don't. They're lost. And it makes sense. It's an upload platform. It makes sense. That's their area of expertise. They've got this massive algo of search that makes discoverability great for uploads. But with live, they don't know. They don't have a freaking clue. They just continue to do things the entire time that are counterproductive. We got gifted members and top fans. Have you told your rep? Yes. Yeah. It's very frustrating. It has been 5 years of, they might get it, they might implement good thing. No. Here's a members new content redirect feature that is one of the dumbest features I think I've ever seen. Oh, we're going to show your members content to more people. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I didn't ask for that. You know what we asked for? And this is where they misinterpreted. I asked for them to show members content to members. That's what we asked for. There were people getting gifted members that were like, oh, I didn't even know you were doing that, because they weren't seeing the members' content. So they just overcorrected. It's like, I just need you to show the members' content to the members. I don't need you to show it to 55,000 people or however many thousand you're showing it to. Did someone just ask if Lono had a problem with something and didn't talk to a manager, or they knew here? Oh yeah, we have vocalized our frustrations for the last 5 years. Yeah. And the thing is the reason that I'm frustrated is because it affects the people that are loyal. It affects you guys in a negative way, and it affects me. It affects my ability to provide for my family. It is a direct effect on those things. And we're just powerless. We're like, we just have to go with the flow and try to do the best that we can. It's like, well, don't obsess over things you can't control. And it's like, but these are things that I should be able to control. What we need is a completely different channel facing for people who are members of the channel. Yeah. There is something that I like about just going to a different channel for all the members' content. There is something that I like about that. It keeps this channel nice and clean. But then that just opens up 8 different problems. It just opens up 8 different problems. Like, I like that. There's a part of me that likes that. It's like, you know, maybe that's what we should have done with the big channel, because a bunch of people had really long-standing badges over there, and we should have just been like, we're just going to let the members' content live with here. But we didn't like that because it promoted people double-dipping, which I feel like is kind of scummy, and it also promoted people feeling like, well, I'm just going to have it over here, so then they wouldn't have a membership here. What we need is a completely different channel facing for people who are members of the channel. Oh, you're saying you need the channel to look completely different for people who are members. What's the XP thing? You get XP in chat for chatting and super chatting, and you climb the top fans ranking. Jazster, that would be the exact solution. If I could say, hey, I want my memberships to work on this new channel over here, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. We would have pulled that trigger and nobody would have even realized. I would redirect you to a green room on another channel, and I'd provide you a link to the green room on the other channel, and then you'd be none the wiser. You'd show up, you'd have a badge, you'd be good to go. It would be wonderful. It'd be wonderful if we could do that. We've been asking for that for years, and I don't know why they can't give it to us. If one of my channels does a no-no and gets in trouble, all of my channels get in trouble, but you can't let me have my memberships cross? It's so frustrating. It seems like such a simple idea, you know? I've been racking my brain about it. Boys. I don't have a good solution, because any solution that we come up with, any idea that we come up with, requires unpleasant things. Leave the videos up. Unpleasant. Damages the channel. Delete the videos. Unpleasant. Damages the value of being a member. Do green room on another channel. That's unpleasant. You're now asking people to become a member to another channel. They're all bad choices. It's like, do you want to get hit in the face with a bat, or a bat, or a bat? Which bat? It's like, well, they're all different colors. That's really the only choice. That's going to hurt no matter what. Oh. And the reason we bring it to y'all is it's like, maybe one of y'all has an idea. Maybe your feedback will help us figure this out. I don't know. Back up your save data? Oh, that's on PC. What's good, El Nini? Ever just thought of not getting canceled? Then we could just stay on Twitch. Yeah. I mean, once we can put the content behind a sub on purple, that is a potential, but that's not a good solution for people that prefer YouTube. It just isn't. It's like, oh, well, now you need to go spend money on purple to watch Green Room. That just is not, that's not helpful at all. It's not helpful in the least. The challenge is we have been dealt a really, really crappy hand of cards because with the way that everything got taken in 2020, we had to restructure around a channel that was big and about Destiny. Then we lose Destiny, so we got to restructure again. So then we got to come over here, right? And we did a lot of reactionary decision making because we're trying to make it so that I don't lose my house. Like, right, we're in crisis mode. When we're finally in the driver's seat, a lot of those decisions we made in the years past are carrying over. They're just carrying over. So it's like we made decisions about memberships. We made decisions about where memberships would live, and all of that. And it's like, well, if we could start all the way over, would we do things differently? Yeah, probably. But it's like now if we do that, we're going to potentially cause a bunch of harm, which is what we had to do this week. We caused a bunch of harm. We had to make an executive decision, nuke a bunch of content, and, what if they have Prime? Why not just do the shows on Purple, the uploads on YouTube? In my opinion, you're doing Purple content on YouTube. The majority of YouTube don't have the expectation for you to do members, but Purple does. I know people would have to bring their support here, but it would still be the same show. Yeah, we can't do that. We spent 5 years building something on YouTube, and that's how I'm able to do this. We can't shift that. That would be utter destruction. That would be absolute utter destruction. What if you set the members only as demonetized? Use how YouTube doesn't like to show demonetized videos, just spitballing. That's probably the most high IQ suggestion I've seen yet. If we've got a live stream that's monetized, an upload that's monetized, and a green room that's not, you would hope that would make YouTube say, well, which one are you going to show? Which one are you going to put on the homepage? It's like the only thing that pays the bills and crap on it for something that can't pay the phone bill. Well, that's a complete and utter misrepresentation of the support that we're getting on Purple. We need to be careful there. The Purple support has been incredible. If it weren't for Purple, we would be having different conversations right now. Purple literally came along at the right time. Because whatever YouTube's doing and whatever YouTube's figuring out with this member stuff and whatever's going on with the channel, if we wouldn't have got Purple in April, it's one of those things where, at all the right times, when I'm about to say, this might not be working, man, I might have to get on a phone call with some of my local buddies and consider, exit strategy. Something comes along and keeps things going. And Purple came along and kept things going. Because this would be a very different conversation. This would be like, I don't know. If it becomes untenable, it becomes untenable. I was in the numbers last night and this morning. Not really. You are completely misrepresenting the support on Purple. That is not true. The amount of support we've received on Purple from Primes and from gifted members has been significant. You stream on both now? I missed earlier, but why not do Green Room on both? When you can put Purple after 6 months? Oh, we do Green Room on both, and eventually Green Room on Purple will be sub-only. Yeah. Things just keep happening and keep lining up to keep this thing working. They really do. But we also have to be diligent, and we have to be paying attention. And this members thing on YouTube, sadly, it's a huge aspect of what we've built. We've built all this value around it. We've built all this value around members and green room and morning coffee, and it started to work against our ability to grow. I was spending more time every day making members content than public content. So we had to make some adjustments. And then, because we were making those adjustments, I started looking at the back end and I was like, what the frick is YouTube doing? I'm literally checking a box that says, don't show this content in sub feeds and home pages, and it does it anyway. No, Kick's not going to work for us. I think the core members on YouTube will migrate over here. Then you have people like MASH hitting a bigger pool of gifted. But on the flip side, I think patience will pave the way and something will fall into place. This might not be a concern anymore. Limiting green room once or twice a week, that wouldn't fix the problem. It wouldn't fix the problem. Solving the problem, this is the problem we're trying to solve to make it as simple and as clear as possible. The problem we're trying to solve is we like to create members content. Our most loyal supporters like to consume members only content. I don't have control over members only content on the platform. It's being shown to people in a way that's harmful. It's being shown to people who are not members, and it drives them to unsub. It harms viewership. It harms turnout. That's the problem we're trying to solve. That's the problem we're trying to solve. We're trying to figure that out. How do we do it? Let's go to green room. I need voice, not keys. We said we were going to play that Labyrinth game, but I don't think we're going to do that now. I don't think we can. We've got to hammer this out because it's important for you guys to have, a voice here. Hyde's resub. Hyde's been very loyal, 27 months, right? And he's like, I'm going to downgrade, man. I don't see the point. So we got to hammer this out and figure out a way for you guys to feel like you're being given the value that you want, and we've got to figure out a path to solve this. We really, really do. Now, as far as that game goes, we could maybe try and find a spot for it. The problem is I don't think right now is the right time to do that, and then the vibe would just be terrible because the vibe would be, I'm just not in the mood for it. I bought Donkey Kong. It was fun destroying rocks for the first 15 minutes. After that, it became a chore. I'm not saying it's a bad game, but definitely not a 10. Definitely not Game of the Year. You didn't play long enough. The first 10 or 15 minutes that you don't have any of the abilities or any of the core content loop. You haven't done anything yet. You've got to play for at least 2 hours before you have a firm grasp on what you're going to do in the game. Now we're going to do green room. And look, we'll run an experiment. I won't monetize it. We'll see. That could be the absolute stupid 900 IQ play that we pull. We just don't monetize green room, and then I'll watch the numbers over the weekend. And if the impressions stay down in the 500s, then we've solved the problem. Does that make sense? If that literally is the 900 IQ play, we could also do some other finagling, and we could do the age restriction. Couldn't we? I'll get Creature on the line, and we'll talk about some of our ideas here. If it's not monetized and it's age restricted, then maybe it will never show up on a homepage, and that'll solve our problem, and then you guys can always watch it. You just got to check the little box that says, I acknowledge that I'm about to watch something that's age restricted, and then you'd be in. Anything to make the video not hit a homepage is the solution, and then we'd be right back to where we were again, where Green Room and Streams with Madam could live on for forever, and then that's a great value to you guys. I don't want to take that value away from you guys. This kind of stuff burns absolutely burns my butt because you guys know I love to give you probably more content than I should. I always over-deliver on members, and it's been to the channel's peril to a certain extent. I've been hurting the channel by giving too much content to members. Which, Farty, you gonna do one? Okay, Mash, how much time do you need? There it is. Mash with the farty bomb. Oh my gosh. 767. All right, I'll give you guys some time. You want to do a little member train? You want to summon some farty bombs? You want to get Mash going? Let's cook. Let's cook and see how high we can get it. Oh, I think Creature was trying to log into purple. I can give you guys a few minutes if you guys want to go crazy. Spam that farty bomb emote. Summon the gods on high to start dropping 50 bombs. Let's turn this count all the way around. All right, yeah, you need the number. Hang on. Anything with Hilly? We've decided that the Hilly segment should only be when we actually have a Hilly game to play instead of like the ride-along thing. The ride-along thing just doesn't work for most games. Yo! Davis over here with 10,000 bits. Jiminy Christmas on purple. Purple with their own answer of their own generosity. Jiminy. The little battle between you guys is now 101 to 20. We'll see if any of the big dogs on purple decide to answer back in the contest today. It is quite literally, you guys think I just say it to say it. The reason we're able to do what we do is because of people's generosity. Grubby says, I hate seeing you like this, man. I truly hope YouTube sorts itself out and things get back on track. I feel like the live stream vibe has been so good. That's the crazy thing about it. The vibe's been good. The content's been good. I feel like I'm really in a space where I know the videos I want to make and how I want to make them. This Wu Chang videos I'm going to make, I think are going to come together really, really well. But it's just like, dadgummit, YouTube, you got to give me control over my members' content. You got to let me restrict where it shows up, because if not, you're driving people to unsub. Like, I mean it. We deleted those 600 some odd members videos, and then immediately the loss of subscribers stopped, and immediately we saw better results on our content. I was like, it was I'm not kidding you. It was immediate. It was like within 12 hours everything looked better. It's not like immediate, like everything has immediately skyrocketed back up, but it was like an immediate like course correction of trajectory. Like, oh wow, the nose is now pointing this way instead of down. You know what I mean? And that just shows you that's a back end logistical problem. That's not like a problem with the content. Because I was like self-reflecting. I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Am I doing bad shows? Like, what the heck? Silent Spartan with 22 months in a VIP. Welcome back. And that gets us to 769. Your content's great, and so are your discussions. Don't change any of that. Just play around with things and you'll figure it out with Creature. I appreciate that, Mash. Guys, we did throw down a crazy gauntlet. I don't know if it's possible. I'll give you guys a little bit of time. If we hit 1,000, we'll do a Saturday night stream, community game night. I think that's fair. 500 to unlock Friday, 500 to unlock Saturday. Yeah, I'll give you guys a little bit of time. Both sides count. If Purple starts gifting like crazy, we to hit that is actually not that far away. You guys have gone crazy before, but you'd all have to kind of band together. Love listening to the recent streams at work. I appreciate that. I do. I feel like the content's been good. The uploads have been good. I feel very, proud of what we fostered and what we're making. It's just this back end stuff. It's like, what the heck, man? You're making it difficult on me. I mean, maybe we came up with the easiest solution. We literally just don't monetize the members' content, or maybe also just age restrict it, and that would probably prevent it from showing up on homepages. You know, J-Dog, welcome back as a VIP. I appreciate it. 770. We're officially 30 away from another milestone, another song. I've actually got 3 versions of a song I was going to let you guys pick, but you guys wanted a community game night. So if you guys manage to scramble here and get 230 in the next little bit, we'll do it. One of the best out there. I listen to work, helps my day go by. My card expired, had to resub, no worries. Man, if you ever stop streaming, I don't know what I would do. You're a big part of my daily life. I obviously don't want to stop. I enjoy it. I feel like I'm very good at it. I feel like it's my natural gifting to just sit and talk with people all day and to provide an entertaining show. I just need YouTube to give me a little bit more control over stuff, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be playing a video game right now. Can confirm on my other account, age-restricted content gets minimal impressions. Huh. That I think would be maybe the easiest, like, 900 IQ play. Like, when you say gets minimal impressions, Brett, do you mean like almost none? Because that would be the easiest solution. Because like that, the members wouldn't care. You just have to click a button. Like, oh yeah, it's age restricted. Like 90% less. Okay. See, this is why I like talking about these things with you guys, because sometimes a super obvious solution presents itself. Now, Creature may weigh in here in a moment and be like, we don't want to do that. Because then that's gonna hurt the other content. You're gonna get your channel viewed as it's like, oh, you're constantly making age-restricted content. Hopefully, it would only affect those videos and not the channel. I don't know how that works. If you ever left streaming to get another job, would you poke your head in once a week? I don't know. I cannot envision a future where I'm not streaming. I can't see it. You know, people would complain about pushing a button. We would say it was the only way to allow Green Room to live on the channel permanently. You get me through when I feel angry? Well, I'm glad I can help with that kind of stuff. What is he going to do if he doesn't stream, work retail? He'd never be able to stock the top shelf. Listen, I'm going to take a real quick break. I'm going to give you guys, before we go to Green Room, I know Creature's like, we got work to do. I want to give you guys a chance to hit the goal. I want to give you guys a chance to go crazy. All right, get the word out. Purple, YouTube. All right, we're close. Now that I'm retired, I have more time to tune in. I'd be sad if you stopped. I don't listen, y'all. We are not at a fork in the road decision for me to stop streaming. We're at a fork in the road of how to handle certain content so that the channel can grow. Okay, we are not at all at a fork in the road of like, I might stop streaming. The last 5 years have been a wild ride. There's been multiple times where I thought, I don't know if this is going to work anymore, and then things turn, things improve, I get Twitch back, things go in the right direction. I believe that'll happen again. I believe that'll keep happening. We just got to figure this the frick out, you know? We've just got to figure it the frick out. We've worked too hard. I've been doing this 10 years. Creature and I have worked together for almost half of a decade. We are absolutely not, neither he nor I have a quitting bone in our body, right? This is all about figuring out a solution so that you guys get your value and my channel's not being strangled by members' content. The channel has to be able to breathe and grow. I think both things can exist. Give me a second to take a quick break. J-Dog wants to start the member train and get to 771. All right. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to go crazy while I step away. All right? I will be right back. Mash. You're a lunatic, bro. So Mash with a 5, a 5, a 5, and a 5, and Silent with a 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 25. And another one from Silent Spartan. And there it is. That's 3801. All right. So here's the deal. We're going for, that's what we're going for. All right. That's for Saturday night community game night. That's the only way I can justify it to Madam. And another one comes in from Silent Spartan. Oh my gosh. It's an absolute 5-bomb train from MASH and Silent Spartan. If everybody right now that can does a 5-bomb, we will get it in the blink of an eye. And now we're at 811. Thank you so much, Silent Spartan. And a VIP from Broken Surprise gets us to 812. I'm going to let you guys throw everything in the kitchen sink at this here. And we'll have a crazy Friday night. We'll have a crazy Saturday night. Remember, the community game night is going to be up to a vote. It'll be rematch, Fall Guys, Jackbox, or Fortnite or something like that. I'll let you guys vote. And Stone Spire throws one on. This is a 5-train like I've never seen before. And that's 217. And Minch Tree throws one on, 822. And Joker Quinn throws a single on 823. And a single from Soul Train over here on purple, 824. You guys are letting me get caught up. You can't let me get caught up. And then 829, a 5-bomb comes in from Grubby. Thank you so much. And Alex comes in with a 5-bomb over there on purple, 34. And then a 5-bomb comes in from MASH, 39. And then a 50-bomb comes in from Silent Spartan and takes us to 889. And then it's going to round out nicely to 890 because of a renewal from Benevolent Icon. And just like that, I told you, you guys are insane. I said it was doable because you guys have, I don't even know what. And a 50-bomb comes in from MASH and goes to 940. Unreal. I don't even know what to say. Oh my gosh. I thought you guys were going to totally slow down. At 9:45, a 5-bomb comes in from Zinthos, and a 5-bomb comes in from Wired Rope. We are exactly 50 away from community game night on a Saturday. Madam's going to be so dadgum grumpy that I made that a goal, but it's like, babe, we got to do something. We got to do something to make these people go insane, and you guys have answered the call once again. And there it is. A 5-bomb comes in after Zinthos for 955 from Mr. Stone Spire himself. Thank you so much, Stone Spire. Those farty bomb emotes look so good, and they do. They summon the energy. They summon the energy of the 50 bomb. Does this count? Thank you for the $2 super chat tip, Trill. No, it doesn't count, you goof. And Raijin comes in with a 5-bomb, and that takes us to 960. Raijin does the 5-bomb over there on purple. Both teams contributing to the total. I'm not even keeping track of the member battle anymore. I mean, YouTube obviously ran away with it, then that's totally fine. But I can't type in both of the fields like that. And a 20-bomb comes in from Silent Spartan, and we're at 980. Okay, so I'm going to call it there, and we're going to go to Green Room. I'm sorry you guys were not able to hit the 1,000. You're going to let Madam and I have the night off on Saturday. So you guys got really close. All right, so let's get out of here. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That would be so mean. That would be the meanest freaking thing. They'd be like, what the heck? We almost had it. We almost had it. I'm sorry. I don't know how this works. They're making me shut the stream down. I have to. I don't run any of this. It's a YouTube policy or something. Trill, what a waste of $2 Canadian. And there it is. Silent Spartan. Unbelievable. Silent Spartan, you have become one of the other absolute beasts around here, and then it's going to be 1,005, and then it's going to be 1,006 as we push past. At this point, I don't even know what we're going to do. I don't have anything left. I don't have anything left to do. So save it for next week. I don't have any incentives left. What's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. So you did it. You did it. And a 107 right there from I'm sorry, 1,007. Thank you so much, TaylorMade, for pushing us a little bit farther with a 37-month renewal. Thank you so much, TaylorMade. You the man. Okay, given that people can frickin' watch on Purple right now for free, this is going to be a one-time deal. I'm going to set this green room to all members. I'm just going to make the executive decision right now so everybody, all of you newly gifted members, can come and get a sample and hopefully maybe consider upgrading in the future to become a more intricate part of what we do here. Instead of going and watching on Purple for free, which you can do, since you can watch Green Room on for free on Purple for a limited time, eventually we are going to take that away once I have the ability, because I do believe it's fair to have paid for content. But I'm going to open it up to all members, not public. I'm going to open it up to all members on the channel since you guys just went crazy. We'll give everybody a little bit of a sample, all right? $5 super chat from Lone Wolf. I felt so bad that I felt the need when I sent that chat yesterday. Just know it was purely constructive. Lone Wolf, we know people are going to feel that and say that, so you weren't out of line. Like, we feel the tension as well, right? We 100% feel the tension as well. So, also Creature, now that it's an open stream. Well, I mean, again, it's an open stream on Purple. It's been that way for months, right? It's been that way for months. So, and another 5 bomb comes in from Lone Wolf, just a little bit more. Guys, I'm out of incentives. So if you keep going, that's your choice. But I am fresh out. I don't have anything left to say or to do. I'm completely out of incentives. Is the chat calmed down? You weren't the only one. Yeah, Broken Surprise chimed in as well. You guys did not say anything that we didn't already know was going to be a problem. And maybe we have the solution. Maybe setting up a green room and having it not monetized and having it age restricted will allow the content to live on the channel for forever. It'll never hit a homepage. We're going to go to Green Room right now to discuss it, okay? So, Community Game Night has now been unlocked tomorrow, and you've also unlocked the stream tonight. We'll do a bunch of music, and Madam and I don't really need to play Donkey Kong tonight. I don't know what we're going to do tonight. A new incentive is to make you and Madam go through Baldur's Gate 3. If you want us to do something like that, that would have to be like life-changing, because that would be so consuming. That would not be something that we could easily do. That would be extremely difficult, right? As a commitment. Mash and Silent Spartan, yeah. I mean, these guys are bonkers. Okay, I'm gonna put a link in chat to Green Room. What is going on? Okay. It's a good one, would take a while. We have some crazy incentives on the channel. Like, I would have to do a Mind's Eye Platinum if we got the 700 member plus. People just don't do it. They don't convert. That's been one of our biggest challenges and hangups, and maybe we can talk about that in Green Room as well. All right. That link in chat is to Green Room. Okay, so if you are seeing this video, you're like, where did this video come from? Why am I seeing this video? You may be a member. You may have been gifted a member. You may be a longtime member. I don't know. This is a segment called The Green Room. We use The Green Room to discuss upcoming content and our plans. It's a behind-the-scenes look. It's a reason to be a paying member of the channel. So this is not something you will see all the time unless you're at Member Plus. So you'll want to do the $6 Member Plus instead of being on a gifted member. So if you like this kind of behind-the-scenes content, consider upgrading. You're getting in right now as like a sample. We're also trying to figure out how to make our members' content not hit the homepage of non-members. And that's been happening. So we're going to be talking and hashing out a strategy on how to solve that. I'm going to end the previous stream and bring people over with redirect. And then I do need to change that.